Trisha? Not here. Shourabh I just saw. He's here. Joydeep I've just seen. Joydeep's there. Gopi is there. Divya Jyot I had seen. Divya Jyot is there. So only Anju. Anju's there. Ah, everybody's there. Come. Beautiful. Okay. Wonderful. Trisha is the one who misled me. So you anyway have a heads up against her as moderator. Okay, so let's start. So we call this panel Technology in Sport. Now anyone who follows, take the case of shooting. You know that micro-millimeter, whatever it is, can decide an Olympic medal and a 4th place. A 10.8 and a 10.7. Abhinav Bindra once explained to me this difference, and Joydeep will correct me if I'm wrong, what is, and I actually asked him, Abhinav lost a shootout by 0.1. And I asked him, what is 0.1? And he said, can you hold up one strand of hair? One strand of hair. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, the difference is the tip of that one strand of hair. The tip of that one strand. If you can hold your hair up, the tip of that one strand of hair is the difference between 0.1 and missing out on an Olympic medal. So now you understand the importance of technology in deciding and now impacting. Think of the starting lane. Think of the shooting target. Think of that technology that you now have in badminton where they show whether the shuttle is in and a little bit of the shuttle is in or is it out. In every sense, think of Anju Bobby George jumping, and because of tech, because of that measurement, it's 1 micromillimeter less and someone can miss out on a medal. Think of DRS. We have had umpteenth number of debates with cricket. Is technology conclusive? Is it not conclusive? So in keeping with our tradition of trying to debate critical issues which have impacted our sport, absolute joy to present this panel. First speaker, someone who I've sort of, over last 10, 15 years has become my go-to friend in case of any crisis. I need a help in any event, be it the Asian Games when Jyoti Yaraji's problem was happening. I know if I request her, it gets done. Any point in time, she's just a call away for me. Ladies and gentlemen, one of India's greatest athletes, the first long jump world championship medalist. Put your hands together for Anju Bobby George. I kept asking him, thank you and welcome. I kept asking him, are you going to play the squash Olympics 2028? Now that squash is part of the Olympic Games. And he kept saying, too early, too early, too early. And then, all of a sudden, in January, I read an advertisement, or rather an announcement in the papers. He's back from retirement and will play in Australia. And I had a smile on my face. Ladies and gentlemen, India's greatest squash player, Saurabh Ghoshal. And you've already heard, seen multiple times, we've celebrated him. Our Lifetime Achievement Award winner, India's greatest badminton coach, Dronacharya Pullela Gopichand. 595 is what he got in the 2012 London Olympic Games. And had the current rule been there, he finished with 699.4. Had it started from just the final, like the rule it is now, he would have been on the podium. Thereafter, a distinguished shooting coach, India's national coach, and now his son is rising up the ranks, and father-son duo making waves in Indian sport. Ladies and gentlemen, Joydeep Kormukar. And all the graphics that you see in the IPL, all the graphics that you see across sporting leagues, all of a sudden, we are used to sports consumption with that much data because it helps the consumption, and we all use our statistics and all of it, right? And we get it real time. The man behind all of this, pioneering sports technology in a manner few has done. Put your hands together for Divya Jyot Ahluwalia. And to moderate, two of my colleagues, you've seen them multiple times on stage. Trisha Ghoshal and Ognijit Sen. Over to the two of them, ladies and gentlemen. Technology in sport.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Technology cannot replace Bhoria Majumdar's gift of the gab. A big round of applause for that amazing introduction. No technology can ever replace the passionate Bhoria Majumdar, the fairy Bhoria Majumdar we're used to seeing on stage. And welcome to the first post-lunch session of the Tata Steel Trailblazers Conclave 3.0. We will debate on a very, actually not debate, we'll ask for perspectives on a session that for me is extremely important, interesting and intriguing, technology in sports. Albert Einstein once said that if ever there comes a time when technology replaces all of human intelligence, then this will be a world comprised of fools. I don't know what Mr. Einstein would have said, seeing this panel and seeing today's sport, because sport has revolutionized itself in such a way that it's not only technology driven nowadays, it's imperative, it's essential to have technology embedded in every aspect of sport, in every sphere of sport that we watch on television or that we aspire to be a part of when we grow up. Trisha, why don't you start the panel with your first question? Then I'll take over for Gopi sir.
Before I start the panel, I had actually started as someone, as a graphics operator. And yeah, and I had worked with Alston Elliott, and later on WT Vision also had done, I think, one ISL as a graphics operator. And then now, of course, I'm here. So I will ask the first question to Mr. Ahluwalia. As the director of WT Vision, how do you see the emerging artificial intelligence, machine learning, and augmented reality reshaping the sports broadcast arena?
It's interesting that you asked about artificial intelligence, because that seems to be the buzzword.
You just need to take the mic a bit closer to the mic.
That seems to be the buzzword across industries, across different applications. And sports broadcasting, graphics is not immune to that trend. Augmented reality in itself has been in use for maybe about 7, 8, 10 years. And it's quite well accepted across multiple sports. Computer vision has gained, there's been a lot of, what should I say, enhancements in technology, in capability. And as a result, what would take a company 10 years to develop can now be done in a year's time. And we've also invested a lot in our R&D team to develop technologies around that. And
high-speed cameras, motion tracking, AI-driven performance analytics. I can name one after the other, but if you can take this forward.
Well, I think technology is there for us to scale things, to be able to look and monitor things, and also to catch minor aspects which you might miss out with the naked eye. So
If somebody can just increase the volume of Gopi sir's mic a tad bit.
I think it's easier if I speak a little louder. Yeah. So I think for me, technology has a great role. I think we need to use it in terms of where we are using it. I'm just sharing an aspect which is important also at this point. Because for a top player, this is very important. At the grassroots level, we have another challenge. We have shuttles, we have players, we have courts. That's the fundamental challenge. There, we don't need too many of the things at the high end. So I think we need to understand what is needed where. And I somewhere see that gap, because I've seen a stadium built up with 600 crores. When I asked them the fundamental question, who's playing there? What is their role? It was club members and then recreational practice with technology which was like top of the world when it comes to it. So I think you need to be clear at where you're investing in what kind of technology and how useful it is. Of course, at the highest level, I think every millisecond would matter, every inch would matter. For us at the highest level, those are very, very important things. But at grassroots level challenges are there. So I think we should not mix up these things, and we should be clear where we need technology and for whom. And I think that's a very important point when we talk about this subject.
Trisha, this can only come from a coach. Where do you exactly need the technology and for whom? And the grassroots picture is very starkly different from what we are discussing on the panel today. Over to you.
And that's why from one to the other, I'll ask this question. I already asked her yesterday at dinner that I'm sure in your academy, you have been using technology. So I have a question in two parts. One, in the grassroots level, obviously, how do you decide where to limit the usage of technology, where it is getting too much? And the other question, this might spark a little debate, I hope, that do you think that somehow the use of technology somewhere is reducing the human part in athletics or sports in general?
So I'll answer the first question first. So in the grassroots level, technology, I guess we needed more to find the right talents. So there is a very gray area now in India. We are selecting kids, we are giving a lot of training, but at last, nothing is happening. So there we need, and during nurturing the athletes, again, we need a right nutrition and right things to make them like podium winners. So for that, we need technology to find what all we have to substitute and what all things are lacking in them. So for these things, we need, and teaching the right technique to them, that also we can show with the new technology. So that's where we need. But yes, there are good things and bad things. Now, gene test that will tell all your full things. You are good in what, you are bad in what, so everything. But now in the world, gene doping is again happening. So that's a very bad thing. People cannot dictate what's happening in human body. So we don't know whether we are competing with a human being or a robot. So that's the very scary thing in my opinion. And above all, see, in my academy, we are using high technology gyms. We don't need to load weights. So techno gyms, it's very easy for us. And long jump technique, we are using force platforms, and we are using cameras where we can teach the kids their techniques. Lot of things. But again, see, coach's eye, that cannot replace, I guess. What, Gobi? I was saying Bobby. Gobi.
That's the headline. Gopi plus Bobby equal to Gobi. That's the headline of so much so for technology, no AI can ever correct this. And this human anecdote will remain with us for a very long time at the Trailblazers Conclave. Trisha?
Absolutely, I think. But Gopi sir, nobody can replace a coach's eye, guts. You know, there must be a gut feeling that this guy or girl has a long way to go from the grassroots level.
Well, I think I think what Anju is saying is true. I think we need to understand that what technology and at the moment, and it could be different for different sports, different for different areas. But all of what technology is telling with all its research, analysis and all, if a good coach is there who's worked for 20 odd years with heart, I think he can tell you in 2 minutes whether it's happening or not. So I think all of that, they can do all the stats and come back to you, and then you're like, boss, iske liye itna kya karne ki zarurat hai, mujhe pata hai. So, but then to convince others that you're not being judgmental, you're not being biased, I think you need tech as well. So I think it has its value, so I won't debate the need for it. But I think at the moment at least, there's still that human element which still is the art of coaching. And the science of coaching together, I think, is what coaching really is.
Absolutely. Big round of applause for Gopi sir. Absolutely. This is it. No technology can ever replace a coach's eye. And on that note, Joydeep sir, if I may come to you. You have seen the entire journey from being an Olympian to being a coach, and exactly what Gopi sir said, taking a cue from that. Precision is extremely important when we speak of shooting. Now there are real-time target tracking, there are virtual simulation, target practice and everything. Two parts to this question. One, can technology guarantee precision? Two, at what point of the time is technology important to guarantee precision? From a coach's POV.
See, a sport like shooting, I would say, in generic terms, in all sports, there are three parts to the technology thing. The first thing is training the athletes to, they benefit from the technology. The coaches, they benefit from the technology so that we can perform better on the athletes. And the third part is about the sport itself being produced in a way so that it becomes more clear to the mass who are watching it or enjoying it. So there are three parts to it. So coming to the technological things which are happening for last 100 years, I would say the first thing, really funny, but the first thing what happened in shooting, it saved some lives. And how did it save some lives? The first Olympics in 1896, they used hens and cocks to shoot. So after the electronic target came, so they spared those lives at least. That is where the technology, the first thing, it saved some lives. Okay, so that was the lighter part. But then the serious part about shooting sport, as I told, I think apart from all the panelists here, the shooting sport is such a sport where mobility is something we don't need. And in all these sports, in badminton, in squash, and in athletics, the dynamics, the biomechanism is more important to analyze an athlete's performance or a coach's analysis of that athlete. But here in shooting, the shooter is supposed to be static. And that is the very difficult thing to get some information from a guy who is standing still and shooting. What do you get from? You cannot see a micromillimeter muscle twitch in the neck from a gallery distance of 10 meters. So how do you analyze your shooter, what is going on and what is going inside his head or the heartbeat and anything? So there are some gadgets which has come now, the SCAT laser technology, which we can trace on the target and we can see on the monitor that how's the heartbeat working, how's the last second of the trigger pull, which is very important, that they are mistaking or doing it very smoothly. So that way, for a coach, I would say it's a very big boon to see those things happening in front of us real time and get to analyze the athlete's drawbacks and the strength. So I think that is very much indeed needed. But again, nowadays there are a lot of talks going on. Like, if I remember, when we used to shoot, I bought a jacket from Finland, and it was a very expensive one. I bought it, I think, in 2009 or 10. It was a 50,000 jacket for a single jacket, so that was very expensive at that time also. So I brought it, I imported it, and then I wore, and I suddenly found it's not fitting me. So now, there was no other way. I have to go back to Finland, stitch it once more, and come back and shoot. So I discarded that jacket. It's still with me. I use it for 7 days. Now, it's again funny. Technology and accessibility is something very important. It goes hand in hand. Correct. If it is technology, somewhere you're not getting access to, there is a disparity. So now, it is also there. If a small academy can access something small, the big academy will have an accessibility of better technology. So it's also, I think, something to do with the accessibility and thing. Now, what I was saying that jacket now, if somebody wants to, if the local knows the area here, 4 kilometers from here, there's a workshop in Baguyati, in Kolkata. A shooter wants to change his jacket, re-stitch, go to the 4 kilometer away workshop, and they can get it done right now, right here.
Wow. Amazing. That is one hell of a story, ladies and gentlemen, at the Tata Steel Trailblazers Conclave 3.0. That is one amazing story. And I think, Trisha, what struck me when sir was saying these words, technology and accessibility, I think these two go hand in hand. Sir, you were exactly saying the same, Gopi sir, when you spoke about the grassroots infrastructure. Right? So, can you emphasize on that a tad bit? Technology and the accessibility of the technology.
I haven't asked him anything.
Trisha, we haven't asked. Saurav Ghoshal a question.
No, we'll go next.
Because Trisha Ghoshal has asked me, don't interfere when I am asking a question to Saurav. Only I
not
will
at all.
ask a question. You stay away.
Not
Trisha?
really, not really. I was just covering up for the fact that, you did not have good questions enough to ask him.
The one-liners that Trisha Ghoshal gives you, but don't believe her. Yes, Trisha, go ahead, please.
Yeah, sort of, obviously in your sport, with all the, technology and the continuous innovations, how do you think that is kind of, in future that's going to interfere with the athlete, or how big a boon that is as an athlete, and what all technologies do you guys really bank on?
So I think something to kind of almost re-emphasize is what Gopi sir said. I think when you're talking about this particular question, it pertains specifically to high performance. We are not looking at sport analytics for kids coming through. You're just overcomplicating their minds, and that's not necessary. But at the highest level, when I'm watching a match, there are two parts to it. I'm watching a match and I'm understanding it from my point of view and trying to figure out the different patterns of play that my prospective opponent is going to play. I might miss something, I might get everything, but at the end of the day, there are a certain number of man hours in the day that I have. So let's say I'm playing XYZ opponent, I'm probably going to watch, if I'm playing him in like 3 days' time, I might watch 3 matches and kind of do my analysis with my coach saying that this is the way I want to play, whatever. What AI does and what technology can do now for us is that it can scan hundreds of matches, or maybe let's say the last 10 matches, and give us the different patterns of play that possibly can be thrown at us. When I say patterns of play, for people to understand, it's not just a question of where they put the ball. It's also a question of from which position in the court they put the ball in which areas. So, I mean, to give you like a little kind of pictorial representation, if there's a player in the front right corner, sorry, the front left corner, and this is a real world example, I'm not going to take the player's name, but there's a player in the front left corner who's probably the best in the world at it. No one can read what he does, right? But we have figured out that basically that front left corner, 98% of the time, he plays 3 shots. Right? So there are multiple number of shots, but there are 3 shots. Doesn't make it so easy that you can read it every time, but you're covering 3 options 98% of the time. So you're almost like saying, okay, the rest of the 2% of the time, I'm banking on it that he's not going to hit it as well, so I can recover. But the other 3 shots that he's hitting 98% of the time, I'm going to try and cover. And what that basically does is that if I am able to get even 50% of those 98% of shots back, it puts a seed of doubt in the person's mind. Right? That is where I've won the battle. Right? So AI is able to do that because it's obviously going through so many kind of permutations and can scan so many things. And that is something which is not doable so consistently with just a naked eye over a period of time. So I think there is definite value in that. And it helps us in a lot of ways. But like a word of caution, at the end of the day, whatever technology gives you, it's data. It's a question of how you use that data. So you have to understand, I could have, again, going back to, let's say I'm playing one player, right? And the AI could give me data about that player in a multitude of forms. There's certain metrics which might not actually suit the way I play, but it could suit, I'm just saying, let's say Gopi sir was a fellow squash player with a different type of game. It could suit him, right? So it's a question of understanding what works and which metrics you need to look at and patterns you need to look at, which you can exploit to the best of your ability. So that's the art, that's the skill. And that's why no matter what happens with technology, the human brain will still always be imperative and paramount, because we have to discern what is most important in taking out of that data. Because we can't use all the data, it's impossible. So we have to figure out what is most important. The people who are most effective at doing that, moving forward, will be the most successful people in the world, whether it be in sport or in any form of life.
Trisha, would you like to carry on?
Sure. Ma'am, to you, when you had begun as an athlete, of course, there was no real guidance as far as technology is concerned. Now, how has this technological enhancement, kind of taken the whole game one step forward?
When I was doing the long jump spikes was just a normal spikes. Now they are using carbon plated spikes. So that is giving 25 centimeter extra. That means they are jumping 25 centimeter extra. So that is technology. And in long jump takeoff, see, then it was just a red mark. When we touch that, that's foul. But now that's a lesser beam. So when we cross that, even with the leg or while taking off, that's a foul. So that is technology. But one thing we should understand, see, these technologies developing in some other countries, they are taking the advantage. In swimming, actually, they developed one suit which they can reduce the friction, sorry. And these things, see, they are using, they are taking the advantage, and then later we are getting. See, maybe after 2 years, 3 years, maybe 10 years back, after. So these technologies in India, we are not doing any research, any type of research in sports. That's one sad thing. We are ahead in many things, but this is the one area we are not caring enough. And see, in 400 meters last Olympics, they were using these carbon-plated spikes, and then they banned because only 2 athletes got a chance to run with that spikes, and others were running with the normal spikes. So how we can judge who is the winner? So technology is actually for good and bad, but everyone should, it's accessible for all the things. Otherwise, see, somebody is using, somebody is not using, then what is sports? It should be equal for everybody.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just one point. I think very important to understand which side of the elephant we are looking at. Because if you're looking at it from the side of a presenter, I think from television, for example, then it's very clear that to make the normal person understand, we need tech. How many steps he's taken, what's the speed at which he's moved, what's the takeoff punch out the legs. All of these are very important things which make it very friendly, very good analytics for people to watch. It's fun if you get these things into a very data which actually can help normal person understand. At the second level, I think grassroots levels, I think when there's so many people training, it's not possible for the human eye to actually catch the grassroots talent. I think AI can do a fantastic job in a country like ours, so diverse, so big, that we can actually have a look at a larger population from a grassroots perspective. That's another area which is definitely we have tech we can. And of course, the third one is where high performance athletes are, whether it's analytics to find out from a particular position, a particular player is playing what kind of shots, or whether it's your own physiology, whether it's your heart rate, whether it's the amount of body sweat you've lost, or the amount of recovery you've done over time. I think all of these things are individual improvements, whether it's rings for sleep or whether it's bands for figuring your heart rate and recovery, or whether it's tech related to recovery, whether it's cryotherapies or hyperbaric chambers or all of that stuff. I think that is a very elite kind of a thing, and each one has their uses, which is definitely there. So I think to understand tech as one big animal, which we want to say yes or no is no. I think it needs to be very specific to who you are and what is the benefit you can take from it. I think that's the understanding I think we need to be clear about.
Gopi sir said a very, very important thing. Which side of the elephant are we looking at? And he actually addressed the elephant in the room, Trisha.
Absolutely.
That exactly. Technology is there for the taking. Technology is improving. It's fast-paced. It's keeping up with the modern times. And it's imperative that technology is used in sports. But exactly, what side of technology are we looking at? Saurabh said extremely well that, what is it at the end of the day? At the end of it, it's all data. But, how can you use that data for your own personal benefit? Like a data which might benefit a Saurabh Ghoshal, it might not benefit Ananju Bobby George. So what kind of data analytics are you people looking at? What kind of performance-driven analytics we people are looking at. Joydeep sir, coming to you on this note, shooting, as you mentioned very clearly, technology is very imperative to shooting. Can you give us one or two real-life examples in which, actually this performance analytics has enhanced the performance of a shooter? You have seen it with your own eyes?
Yes, of course. I've also tried something which was a little alien for shooting sport, even like, a decade back. So what I did is that I got a hold of a remote heart sensor. So I put it on one of my shooters and watched what is going on inside that, like, the heart rate and all on my mobile device. And what I found was very, very, surprising is that I thought when a shooter is aiming at the target, the excitement level is very high. So the anxiety level is very high because, you're anticipating a shot. It might be a 10.9. It might be a bad shot also. And that, as Boria was saying in the beginning, that 0.1 can miss an Olympic medal. So that precise. So, and of course, after the shot is over, you relax, right? So now you'll be also surprised with the results, which I saw. So the heart rate went low when the shooter was aiming at the target, concentrating, and whenever the shot was over, her duty was over, it got high when it was relaxing. Because every kind of thought came inside the shooter's head while after the job is over. While focusing on the moment, in that moment, he or she had a lower heart rate. So I realized something, that we need to focus post-shot period more to make the concentration more consistent, to make the shooter ready for the next one. So this is some real-life experience about technology, which is with surprising results. And we walked the other way around, and it helped.
Trisha?
This was fantastic. But I'll go to Ahluwalia sir. Sir, for every project, since I've worked in graphics, I know we are trying to continuously, innovate and somehow, enhance the broadcasting and the viewer's experience. So is WT Vision currently working on something? And can you reveal it? Because Saurav definitely didn't want to reveal somebody's name, but yeah, if you can reveal.
The smile on Ahluwalia's face when you asked it, you asked his trade secret. Yes, sir, over to you.
It is a trade secret, yes, it is.
Since yesterday night, I'm getting this answer. When I went to Anju ma'am and asked, would you like to share what technology you guys are using? The first look was of apprehension, and then she said, that's our trade secret. I was like, okay, maybe then we will talk about something else. Then Saurav, I'm facing a lot of trade secrets and rejections here.
So at Trailblazers Conclave 4.0, we'll do a session which is called Trade Secrets.
Trade secrets.
That was on a lighter note. We are working on a lot of technologies. We're looking for a lot of concepts using AI, computer vision, machine learning. All of this is now coming together. Of course, we represent the broadcast side of the business, and we view technology and AI very differently as compared to other panelists here. There are a lot of things coming up. I will not go into the specifics because some of them are going to come up in the IPL, and you will see that. And I'm not allowed to talk about all those things. But yeah, we've spent close to 2.5 years only working on this whole domain. So we've got this team that just looks at how technology can be used to gather data, use AI to learn things about athletes, and just keep that in our whole repertoire. And when we meet somebody, we say, okay, this is something that you want to do. When you talk to a broadcaster, they have some aspirations, that we start putting them all together and building products. So on this IPL, you will see a lot, at least 3-4 new innovations that we have been working on very hard. And it's going to come out, and hopefully it will improve your experiences.
Absolutely. But there is one thing when
I also want to, since I just want to take off from some conversations here. especially related to the heartbeat thing. We did a tournament a while ago where they had put a sensor inside the ball, the cricket ball. And at the end of it, we realized that it's counterintuitive in a way, that the revolutions on the ball are higher for a fast bowler than a spinner. Could you even think of that as being a reality? A spinner is supposed to spin the ball,
Yeah,
whereas
absolutely.
a fast bowler has a higher number of revolutions on the ball. No, it's the way he releases the ball. It just gives a backspin on the ball. That was quite a revelation.
That's quite a revolution, Trisha. More revs on the ball, thanks to Rev
Absolutely.
Sports.
Absolutely. It's all about revs. Go ahead.
Should we have a bullet cam now? A cam inside the bullet?
Oh yeah, that's been a wish list from some broadcasters.
Very costly though. Like one bullet is hit, it's gone.
Yeah, so we happen to provide graphics for one of the shooting World Cups, and having a graphic that would show you the trajectory of the bullet was an ask. But the point is, and that's something that also ties into the amount of money, research, R&D that we put into different sports. Unless you have continuity in a particular sport, especially non-cricket sports, you're not going to have enough interest across the industry to put in effort into R&D and to develop innovations around those. So if shooting would have, say, 200 days of broadcast in a year, then companies like us would invest in innovating and developing that further and making it more viewer-friendly.
Yeah, I think the Shooting Federation is also contemplating having a league this year. And I guess they will be having people like you to make it more popular, because otherwise it's, even for me, if I sit behind not as a coach, I feel bored. Sorry to say. But one thing I just remember, the AI thing we're talking about, just in the morning I was going through a video. There's one new coach on the short putt for India, Mr. Stroll, has come. So I was surprised. In this video, this guy, of course a foreigner, is speaking in Hindi with a lip sync also. And that's completely AI generated. So he was not able to learn Hindi. So he was speaking in his own language, and that exactly converted it with the lip sync. And he's speaking to his students, athletes, in Hindi.
Have you heard of Chris Gayle speaking in Hindi? That's going to probably come up sooner than you can think of it.
Things that technology can do.
Things, not only technology, Trisha, things that AI can do.
Dangerous at times.
But I think
Tomorrow
AI...
that will replace you and us.
Anju ma'am wants me replaced. Should I just go from the panel? Ma'am just wants me replaced.
No, I'll just give you a one-liner, Trisha. AI cannot guarantee a coach like Gopi sir. AI cannot guarantee athletes like Anju, Bobby, George and Shodav Ghoshal, and it cannot guarantee a coach like Joydeep sir as well. And a visionary like Aluwalia sir. So AI cannot guarantee the basic quality of human beings. It's all about how you use it, no? I think that's the basic takeaway from the session, Trisha.
AI is also fed by human beings only, no?
The end of the day, we'll all agree on this. On the field, when we are playing, at the range or the hockey field or the boxing ring, there's no technology helping the athlete there.
Absolutely.
It can be the homework, it can be the coach's work who enhance your performance in your training. But end of the day, when you're there on the ground, nobody is there to help you. No AI. It's intelligence only. No artificial thing in it. It's the real raw thing, which it is the biggest reality in the world. If you get punched in your face, there's no AI going to save you with that.
No AI, only intelligence, IQ.
Yeah, only intelligence.
That can save you on the field.
RI, yeah, that's going to work. And that's what sports is. When sports will be replaced by artificial intelligence, then we will have that robotic thing. That might not work. Okay, then we can watch those robot wars on the television. That is a different thing. But until and unless the human thing will be there in Olympics, in whichever sports, world championships, we will be glued to that human excellence and human error and human failure. We will celebrate that and we'll put in money in that also, because you will dramatize it.
Then we
Okay.
won't have stories to tell as well, Trisha. Yes, over to you.
Since we are talking about one lines, that is the difference between sports and esports.
Of course. And we will wrap up the session very shortly. Trisha, your last concluding notes to the speakers or about the session, your personal takeaway from the session?
Well, I think my personal takeaway from this session is the best part about technology is it's a guidance. It's a guidance that I think every single player, coach, at some level or at every level needs. But that apart, sports is still so much human, and that adds to the fun element of sports.
Absolutely. There will be technology. There was technology. There will be technology. There has been a revolution. But at the end of it, when you're getting punched on the face in the field, as Joydeep sir puts it, or you are being challenged on the field, only the human guts, only the human intelligence, the human practice, the human dedication will save you, and we will have more stories to tell. It's been an absolute honor to moderate this panel. Ladies and gentlemen, technology in sports, and the fiery Boria Majumdar comes in, the voice of whom no AI can replace, and the passion of this person nobody can replace.
Okay, my one technology story. These two are wicked, you know, Trisha and Ogni and Rohan, who's not here. So they were interviewing Gopi at the Asian Games, okay? They were interviewing, she's already laughing. No, serious story, and Gopi is here. If I'm exaggerating, he will point out. So they're interviewing Gopi at the Asian Games, and now you have these small microphones, like these microphones which you just put here for the recording. So Trisha and Rohan both put the microphone on Gopi, and they do the interview the day before Satvik and Chirag's final, the gold medal match. So they do the interview is done, and Gopi forgets to return the microphone, and they forget to take the microphone. So Gopi has gone, he's actually briefing Satvik and Chirag, getting them ready.
No, he went for lunch.
He went for lunch.
He went for lunch.
So these two, Rohan and Trisha, all of a sudden remembered, "Arey, microphone?" So they called Gopi and said, "Sir, microphone." And Gopi said, "Oh, okay." And Trisha says, "Sir, we can hear everything that you've been saying for the last whatever time." And for 1 second, Gopi said, "What did you say?" And he then realized they were basically going after them. Technology, ladies and gentlemen. Trisha Ghoshal, Anju Bobby George, Saurav Ghoshal, Pulala Gopichand, Joydeep Kormokar, Divya Jyot Aluwalia, Ognijit Sen. May I please call upon, again, two of my dear friends, Chirudeep Bhattacharya, founder of GetAfix Solutions, and Gaurav Mukherjee, founder of Activo Labs, to kindly come up and felicitate this panel. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Gaurav and Chirudeep, please, to felicitate this panel.
Boria, so much so for trade secret. I'm just imagining Gopi sir's briefing to Satvik and Chirag, and you are listening to the trade secrets. Just before the event. I'm just
imagine, he's 1 kilometer away. These two are telling him we can hear everything. Oh, come on,
Oh God.
You know, it's sorry to say, but journalists do bullshit, and these two were doing it. Go for it. Jao. Yeah. Samne jao.
Guys, I know we came back from lunch, but I think the lunch was
Like
good
how-
enough. We can be louder.
Let's all come forward for the photo op. If we can all come forward, please. Yes. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to this panel. And as we move on to the next panel. So we discussed technology in sport. We have discussed about the corporate structure in sports at the Tata Steel Trailblazers Conclave 3.0 on day one. And now we move on to the next session, a very, very important session, managing wealth, athletes, leagues, and the sports ecosystem. These are topics, these are conversations, as Boryada says, you'll only get to hear at Tata Steel Trailblazers Conclave 3.0. What kind of wealth are we talking about? What kind of investments are we looking forward to? Are we ready for the 2036 bid? The debate is engaging and the debate is never ending. But especially this is about managing wealth, athletes, leagues, and most importantly, the sports ecosystem. Because all of us are essential cogs of the sports ecosystem, without which we will not survive. And for the session, we have a stellar panel. May I call on stage one by one Mr. Mahesh Bhupati, multiple Grand Slam champion. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for Mahesh Bhupati, sir. We have got Adil Sumariwala, Vice President, World Athletics. Adil sir has been a friend of this conclave since day one. Adil sir, requesting you to come on stage. Sameer Pathak, CEO, Global Chess League. Ladies and gentlemen, please keep the applause going. As my colleague Trisha said, it's just about to finish lunch, but we can be a little louder with the applause. Anant Arora, founder, 1x2 Entertainment. Yashpal Adda, restaurateur and owner of Masala Theory, Sydney. And of course, the hospitality of Yashpalji has touched us all when we went to cover the Border Gavaskar Trophy in Australia. And Srikant Subramanian, CEO, Ionic Wealth. And this session is called Managing Wealth, Athletes, Leagues and the Sports Ecosystem. If the speakers can come on stage, please, one by one. Adil Sumariwala, Sameer Pathak, Anant Arora, Yashpal Adda, and Srikant Subramanian. Ladies and gentlemen, let's keep the applause going. And to take this session forward, may I call on stage Gaurav Mukherjee, founder, Activo Labs, to join them, please. A very important session, an engaging session, and a topic which needs to be debated on heavily. Managing wealth, athletes, leagues, and the sports ecosystem. Gaurav da, over to you.
Thanks, Agni. I think you probably missed out Professor Vijay, our knowledge partner from Kretch. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I think, is Mahesh sir here? Yeah. Okay. Can we get Mahesh sir? I just did see him. No, he's here. He's gone to the washroom. Okay, all right, fine. I think I can hold his questions back. So, I wanted to go first with him. Right. Well, thanks, Agni, and welcoming all my esteemed panelists. Very excited to actually have this conversation about a subject that we don't quite talk about that often, and that too in the open. We are all here celebrating our sporting heroes. We idolize them, we cheer from them, whether in the stadiums or looking at them at the screens. We feel some of their pain when they don't win, and we put them on a pedestal when they take our country, our club, our franchise to its pinnacle. Okay, Mahesh is here? All right. But the question is, what happens when the lights dim out? What happens when the show ends? For sportsmen, for most sportsmen, unlike most of us in this room, they don't get to retire at 65. They don't get to retire at 60. The sports, for a sportsman, the career is fairly short. And what are we doing as a society, as an ecosystem, making sure that their financial stability is taken care way after their careers are done? We're going to dive into some of these concepts and questions with our panelists today and explore some of that. But the first thing we want to address is to Mahesh sir. I think the elephant in the room first is we have seen, sorry, I know you just came up from a lunch, but I think you want to wake up the audience as well, Mahesh. We have seen what wealth has done to the sport of cricket, right? No longer are the parents not indulging into getting their kids playing cricket anymore. They said, yeah, there's a career out there. We have seen what wealth has done to the sport. We're probably the best, if not one of the best, if not the best, cricketing nation in the world. But the disparity we can see amongst other sports. We have seen a few leagues come through. We have seen the IHL, the ISL, the Kabaddi League has come in. There's some money coming in, but I believe the disparity is still there. A lot has changed in the last 20 years. There have been a few other sporting heroes beyond our cricketing heroes, but I thought I'll start with you to give us a bit of a lay of the land in terms of how it is for the rest of the sporting environment beyond cricket when it comes to the wealth in the ecosystem.
Well, I think firstly, the word wealth is subjective, right? Depends on what kind of background you're coming from and what your expectations are of yourself. I think from an athlete's perspective, like you said, things have changed a lot in 20 years, and I don't think comparing cricket to anything in this world, in this country works. You know, you have success stories like a PV Sindhu or a Neeraj Chopra or a Sania Mirza who've made a ton of money because they've been successful in their individual sports. And they've done the right things, said the right things, and obviously success on court, nothing speaks more than that. I mean, cricket, there's a lot of money in cricket because of corporate India, not because of the way the guys are hitting the ball or bowling the ball, right? It's a different story that because of the system that the BCCI created, incredible bench strength, which allows us to be one of the top teams in the world. So yeah, I mean, I think luckily things are changing. Are they changing as fast as we would like? Probably not. But I think if you have success, I mean, Neeraj over the last 5 years, what he's done on the field and off the field financially, I'm sure could be a case study for, you know, he comes from a small town deep yonder.
Fantastic. I think I'll go in that order. Professor Vijay, Mahesh sir said about corporate India, right? And so what's the role of corporate India beyond just focusing on eyeballs? I know we've been speaking about it a lot. You know, we have seen a lot of corporate representatives. The fact that, you know, we can have this conclave is because corporate India is supporting it. You know, it's not easy to get such esteemed athletes coming to this one place in this room and talk about it. So there is something that we're seeing from corporate India. But you not only a professor here, but you've been a professor around the world, and you've been teaching courses around sports management and wealth and sports. What are you seeing, what's happening in India versus the rest of the world?
Yeah, I think as I mentioned yesterday, as a country grows economically, the eyes are again on the well-being, and sport is one way of helping that well-being. Sporting heroes are again welcomed across the world, and in countries such as China and India, who are, you know, growing economically, there is the burden of how can you keep your citizens more healthy. But going back to the question of wealth, I mean, the classic Scottish economist says it very clearly in The Wealth of Nations, Adam Smith.
Adam Smith, yeah.
Yeah, it says greed is good, wealth is good. Wealth creates and propels everything else, including sport and its management. From rags to riches, the story of BCCI, my work under progress with Boria. Yes, from rags to riches, the story of BCCI. I mean, of course, you know, it's the players, but who gave them the opportunity to play in IPL to harness that? Even other countries, cricketers say that the IPL taught them the different skills in terms of fast cricket, T20 cricket. So we're going back to saying that in the process of a country getting rich and richer, capitalism or wealth or the greed helps what Adam Smith calls the invisible hand. It helps generate employment, opportunities, training, investments into sports. And again, we talk about the CSR. You know, why companies do it is because it does good for them. Eventually, it helps their brand building. So it's a win-win situation. You can't get rich, and the riches depend on the well-being. So it's that correlation.
Absolutely. I think I'll come back. We can hold that chain of thought. I'll come back to you because you spoke about wealth and wealth going into sports from corporate India. But again, I think we'll still go into how does wealth go into places where it's not cricket. You know, I'll come back to that. But coming back from wealth, we're going to focus on the subject. It's not just wealth, it's also our athletes. Srikanth, you and I were talking about it, and how different is the life of an athlete or a sports person? Somebody's taken it up professionally, right? The life of, the professional life of a sportsman is not the same as you and I, right? For entrepreneurs like us, we can decide when to quit or when to retire, right? That's not the case for a sports person. So for that, the sports people who pick up sports as a profession, once they retire, right, they need to be structurally placed in the right manner such that they can lead healthier, happier, financially secured lives for their families, right? Why don't you shed some light on that? There's a role that the wealth manager should play for our sporting heroes.
Actually, more than the wealth manager, it's the overall concept that, and if I, for a minute, zoom out, even if I just for half a second pause the question for the fact that we're only sort of alluding to the athletes, in general, we're all going to live a longer life than what our previous generation did. And it's no secret that our next generation will live even longer life than what all of us are going to experience. Despite COVID, India is at least 5 years ahead in life expectancy as compared to 2015-16. Now, there is a notable work by two London School of Economists, a book called 100-Year Life, which essentially makes a case that living up to 100 is going to be a new normal. Now, which means what? Someone like me started my career at 22, and I'm talking averages here, so I'll oversimplify. Let's say I worked till 60, 65, which means I've worked for about 40 years of my life. And if my life expectancy is supposed to be 80, 85, the maths is something like this, that I work for 40 years to save for my next 20 years. Now, change that 80 to 100, which means I have to work for 40 years to save for next 40 years. And what makes it exceptionally unique is that in a profession like sports, your working career decreases anyways from 40 to 10, 20, 15, depending on the sports, and depending on, of course, how long the athlete can go for. And there's nothing wrong with the profession, that's the nature of the beast. And it doesn't even mean that they earn any less, but they earn a lot in a shorter span of time. So I think it's very commonsensical if one looks at it. With or without a professional wealth manager, it's still a very basic life skill that one needs to understand that what you're going to gainfully sort of earn over a period of short time, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, you need to make it last for yourself over the next 30, 40, 50, 60, and even 70 years. So I think if you're equipped to do that yourself, great. Professional services are always available. That's also one thing. But irrespective of all of that, this is the point that I think we generally tell everyone that one needs to keep in mind. And well, look, India is also going through not just in terms of sports, but even in terms of financial investments, we're unlocking a lot of new opportunities. So if one is just able to make sure that basic building blocks are kept in place, it will last a reasonably long lifetime. So that's how we look at it.
Absolutely. You know, we not only just sports people, we all should be gearing up for the 100-year life. And I think that's what I do for a living in terms of I work in longevity and, you know, healthy longevity and financially healthy longevity. But following on that thought, I think you want to just go back again, back to that life of an athlete itself, right? Till the time that they hit gold, you know, literally hit gold. Neeraj Chopra, I think, Mahesh sir, you mentioned, right? You had the Neeraj Chopra, and then he's doing fantastic on and off the field. But before Neeraj Chopras of the world become Neeraj Chopras, right? What can we do as a society, as an ecosystem, as corporate India to support that, those players and give them the financial stability or the freedom to pursue their dreams?
Thank you for that. I think it's a combination of things that overall we as a society need to inculcate. Mainly, having been fortunate to represent cricketers and other athletes, we've realized that, like you very rightly said, before they reach that stage in their life, they need someone to, you know, obviously support them financially and otherwise. It's not always the finances that help, it's also the recognition and the support that you get, because in a lot of situations, these athletes do end up doing very well, but nobody ends up noticing or realizing what their achievements are. So because of that, there's currently we have the privilege of representing Rishabh Pant. So what our objective here is to have a foundation which he's announced, and the idea there is to help athletes, obviously from a financial standpoint and across other verticals as well, with recognition and just providing support. So along with that, we want to use brands to come into the platform, and mainly grassroots development, infrastructure, and overall just supporting them in the best way possible.
Right. And again, you said about recognition, right? And recognition leads to more viability or sellability itself. But again, without that recognition, right, what could be a case for, say again, the corporate India, the brands, the sponsors, to look and identify a particular sport, let's say a sport like Kabaddi, or let's say as a sport like football, and getting our football or our kabaddi players and giving them recognition, what could be done from a corporate India perspective, what we see, what we do not see it happening? Yeah.
Thank you for having me, and please add chess to that.
Chess,
what
okay.
can be done to chess as well?
For sure, absolutely.
Now, I think too much emphasis is being laid on corporate India to do certain things. If you look at the way corporate India or any corporate, forget corporate India, any corporate operates, it operates in a selfish motive. The selfish motive is it has to deliver value to the stakeholders. The stakeholders are investors, employees, and so on and so forth. Till the time a sport doesn't deliver value back, it is difficult for corporate to keep justifying an investment. What has happened over the last 5 to 7 years, or maybe going back to 10 years, maybe it is the IPL effect, you've seen a lot of corporate enter sports. Mahesh represents SG Sports, they invest in a lot of sports. At Global Chess League, we have a lot of newcomers who have invested in our league with teams. They are looking at a certain value coming out of it. And then it becomes jobs of professionals like ours to actually deliver that value. The entire ecosystem then plays to deliver that value, be it players, who then, be it broadcasters, and very importantly, the whole product or whatever has been put out has to appeal to the audience, which eventually determines how much the commercialization happens. I think breaking that cycle, if you move away from that cycle, then it becomes largely a case of patronage. You get X amount of money from government, Y amount of money as a grant from someone. That has purpose. That is very important. It is important at a certain stage in development of an athlete. It is important in certain stage of development of a game or a sport. But if you want it longer, if you want it to be more structural, it has to deliver value. We spoke about IPL. IPL reaches out to 450 million people guaranteed every year. The brands can bet their money on it that we will get that value. Our brand will be visible, so they're willing to invest. Kabaddi has moved in that direction. Chess is moving in that direction. As long as you deliver value, the money from corporate will never be a problem. Now you see Gukesh has become a star. Brands are now signing up Gukesh because he will deliver value of visibility and all that they are seeking. I think that is the way forward. So I think the question then becomes reverse. What are sportsmen and everybody else doing to deliver value, which then can be encashed, and then the happy cycle begins. So I want to just turn it around and actually present it as a different problem.
So it's the chicken and the egg, right? Can you deliver value without financials or the right financial support not being in the system for a particular sport, right? Where does the availability of finances leading to great infrastructure, great support, great mentorship has an impact on these athletes getting to a point where they start even thinking about wealth?
First thing first, good afternoon, Kolkata. It's a pleasure being here, and thank you for having all of us. It's a good question. I personally feel that the whole ecosystem is very heterogeneous, and I feel there are a lot of actors who play a whole role in the financials. When I say actors, it is just not athletes, federations, the leagues, the team owners, the sponsors, the advertisers, and of course the fans. And I think it has to be an effort for everyone together because everyone is competing with each other for their own personal reasons. But to evolve in a way or to have a structure or ecosystem which would help each and everyone from a long-term perspective, I feel it will be a great investment in terms of future of the athletes who are currently playing, who would be playing in future, or who would be retire. And I think a lot of emphasis also needs to be done on the fans. The fans, a lot of time, they get disconnected or discontent with a lot of leagues, or they don't get the whole connection to a particular team or a league, which I feel that should be also looked after for different other sports. Cricket does it very well, but a lot of other sports need to do it well as well. So all the people who are playing, the athletes who are a part of it, gain significant financial benefits from a long-term perspective, just not when they are playing or they don't get recognized.
Absolutely. I think taking care of these athletes, I think that's probably going into the next segment of this panel, is about taking care of these athletes and about building wealth for them such that they can go on doing what they do on a day-to-day basis, and that to be the best in their field. Now, one of my favorite TV shows on Netflix is this series called Ballers. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, he plays this character where he's an ex-sportsman himself, and then he's part of an agency, and then becomes owner of an agency, something similar to you, Mahesh. And then it really fights for the athletes when it comes to, fighting for the brands itself. How is that part of India in terms of representation for the athletes, the voice of the athlete? What do you see is happening right now? I mean, I think you are there, but what else is happening for the athletes for that?
I think the ecosystem is quite robust now for athletes across sports. Everyone has an agency that they're associated with. They have managers. Obviously, the cricketers are the cream of the crop, but I think, across sports now, even someone like Gukesh or the badminton guys or even Satvik and Chirag, they all have managed, they have agencies managing them. So I think from that perspective, they're looked after. This was not the case 20 years ago, where you had to do multiple things. So now they can just focus on their sport and try and get better at that, because that's what athletes have been doing since they were kids, right? They just want to play.
Absolutely. And I think going into, they've been well looked after, but we just going to dive a bit more into a controversial topic where you're still seeing that happening, not only in India, but around the world as well, is mismanagement of funds. Most of them do not come from financial background, so they're not that financially literate. We have seen things happening even, you remember whether it's a Mike Tyson or, Diego Maradona, they went almost close to bankruptcy. To someone like a Lionel Messi, he was charged with tax fraud himself, right? If you went down, his lawyers said that it was handled by his father, and father had financial advisors, and the money went from a charity game into his, tax haven accounts itself. What do you think should be the role, Prof, in terms of, do we have, or, because you're building management schools, I'm sure around the world, there are courses that is looking into that wealth management side of things, especially going and talking to a sports person who wants to, like going back to the TV show Ballers, all he wants to do was buy $2 million worth of bling blings, right? And where he was telling him that, he should be putting it in ETFs on the New York Stock Exchange. And he had a very hard time explaining between bling blings and an ETF to a player. So what are you saying that, what should be the role of the universities?
Representing professors in India, being the incoming president of the Indian Academy of Management, including the IIMs, we need to understand the topic of business ethics. What is business ethics? And even our corporates, understand it in a certain way. There are certain boundaries, there are certain cultural aspects that come into play. As an emerging country, what is right, what is wrong, what is mine, what is not, what is tax evasion, what are tax havens, all of this is very, very foreign. And it's in its nascent stage as an emerging country. And so the classic cases are, to pick up, for example, the Tyson case or the Enron case and other cases of corruption to show that, corruption or evasion, whether it's tax or otherwise, creation of wealth, investment of wealth, foreign accounts, all of these, again, needs education. And in education in a way that even our managers need to be educated what is right and what is wrong, and the implications that if you're caught. What are the implications? We have the whole financial sector and the whole financial crisis that we can learn from. Every single foreign and local bank was involved with that, knowingly or unknowingly, mostly unknowingly. Then had the governments and the whole system support them to take them out, because putting all of them would have had a much larger crash in terms of the finance. So the implications of going down the unethical route are very, very risky. And so prudent, non-risky, uncorrupt, ethical management of wealth is probably the way forward. The bankers will not tell you that. Your accountants may not tell you that. But what is it that you want?
Well, you want your wealth manager to be ethical with your wealth, such that, our athletes have a peace of mind. I think, Srikant, again, coming back to forget the the complete clear fraud, but what about mismanagement of funds? Very recently, last year, there was this one video that came about, but went pretty viral. We all saw Vinod Kamli, and he was in hospital, and then Sunny Gavaskar came out and said he's one of our own, and we'll take care of him. And he made a comment that I need to rely on my pension. Vinod Kamli needs to rely on his pension to make ends meet, right? What is it the role or the responsibility of the wealth managers of our athletes to ensure that that doesn't happen? What can be done? What measures can be taken or put into place to do that?
Actually, no different than any other client. As far as athlete is concerned, you just need to be conscious of the uniqueness of an athlete being an athlete for some of the points which I already mentioned in my previous sort of talk. But I think, look, it's a very personal choice, right? You can pop an Ozempic and lose weight, or you can go to a nutritionist and ask whether an Ozempic is right for you or not. Similarly, you can decide to invest yourself, or you can go. So there's no right and wrong. So no one should be sitting here and preaching that you need a wealth manager or not. But the point is, there are professionals, there are good managers, there are bad managers, similar to there are good lawyers and bad lawyers. But the reality out there is, when you're doing things on your own, you could be susceptible to a lot of herd mentality, a lot of FOMOs. You can go and invest into the next crypto, you can invest in the next startup ecosystem. So if you think that you enjoy and you can demystify and deconstruct some of these and know what's right or wrong for you, great. The same risk can also be there with your wealth manager, so your wealth manager can also make that mistake. So I think nothing is dissimilar to how you choose your doctor, your lawyer, your accountant. Your vibes match, someone understands you well, you know exactly that this manager understands me well, you understand the manager in terms of how they are intended to behave. I think there are very coherent ways of managing wealth. Each person is unique, right? Someone will say, look, don't worry about my lifestyle. This is not my only source of income, so I'm happy to create wealth. My lifestyle is already taken care of. Someone else may say, no, this is what is to be preserved because this is what I'll dip into it. So again, there's no one sort of cookie cutter answer. So I think what is 100% required is either you cultivate this life skill to manage wealth or figure out a professional who works best for you. But it is a reality that you can either use money as an end goal and spend all of it, or use money as a raw material to earn more money. So that's all there is to it.
Absolutely, it's just a tool. And to that point, he mentioned that diversifying of your investments and your entire portfolio. Now, you're managing sports stars yourself, and how do you deal with someone who can come up to you? I'm not going to say like Rishabh Pant's going to come up to you and say that mujhe bhi ye karna hai because Virat Kohli invested in these 3 startups, I want to do this, and they're investing in crypto, I want to do this. How do you have that conversation in terms of do you feel that pressure because it's really their money at the end of the day and you're managing it for it? So have you faced that? What could you share with us with the audience as well?
So it's a very interesting question. Actually, it really depends from athlete to athlete. Each of them have a different thought process, and it's important to understand that because for a lot of them, it is the traditional endorsement route. A lot of them understand that equity structures is the way forward. A lot of them also understand that it's not just, you have to look at life after retirement. So it's a combination of things, but to answer the question, it's a very unique, you take it from case to case of how things usually prop up. When you see opportunities that could add value in an athlete's life, typically we tend to suggest it, basis the personality and other traits if they feel that it's something that would be a fit for them. So overall, you have to know what really resonates with the athlete, but the overall thought process is to always think long-term, to never have something short-term in mind, because that's when you're really making an impact and actually creating a value. So those are the kind of value systems which they also overall want to do, because after a point of time when you look back in your career with everything that you've done and the wealth in this case that you've created, it gives you that diversified approach overall.
Absolutely. And again, talking about value, coming back to that value conversation, is we have seen sometimes, right now we have a Gukesh, right? And he's a superstar, and rightly so. And their brand's just willing and ready to sign him up. And we'll just get into the last couple of questions and just end it over there. So what do you see? So when you see, there's so many superstars in cricket, right? But the amount of money that BCCI generates, it creates a certain level of stability for, first-class players coming in. They get a certain decent amount of, match fees even playing first-class games. When this happens, when you get one Gukesh, right? How do you leverage that one Gukesh to create, the many who are trying to get into and become the next him, but create some financial stability for all those who are around that system?
It's a great question, and I think it's not just one sport like chess. A lot of them are dealing with the same thing. You get one superstar, and then how does it all flow down? Now, I can speak from the experiences of some of the chess players. Chess has the advantage that you can be a streamer as well. A lot of chess players from Hikaru Nakamura to even Tanya, and they all are streamers, and then there is an additional source of income that starts coming from there. They also participate in other things. Vishy sir is also a great management speaker. He does chess in boardroom kind of thing. So there are alternate ways. If you have, and you spoke about a wealth manager, you also, if you have a good athlete manager who can advise you on some of the other things, that these are the other sources and you need to develop. Example, one of the chess players, Vidit Gujarati, has a huge social media following, which is rare for a chess player coming up. And only Gukesh has just surpassed him as soon as he became the world champion. But Gukesh's manager worked with him, build it up for him, and that helped him generate additional source of income as and when, while Vidit is doing well, but that is the other alternate source. So you need a good manager to also look out on opportunities, keep advising the player on these are the things that happens, and it applies to not just chess, to any other as well, while it may not be true in a physically extreme sport, that they may be able to do other things. But at end of the day, there will have to be someone, the supporting structure around, to start thinking on what are the alternate sources of revenue. One is obviously a lookout for a job. That can you get into a stable job, which also gives a peace of mind, and that used to be what Mr. Gopichan had spoken about recently. So that is one. But then there are other alternate sources as well. But I think looking, and one thing we shouldn't make a mistake, and I think Mahesh made that point, don't compare anything to cricket and IPL. I think that's a wrong benchmark to have. It's a whole different ecosystem. If you have to compare cricket, compare it with footballers in English Premier League or NFL players. Compare those ecosystems and those wealth and what they are doing. For rest of them, it's a different playbook, and I think that needs to be recognized, because confusing them with that becomes a bit, is a wrong path to take.
Thank you so much. We're almost out of time, but I'll give you the last thoughts on this subject. You have heard all of us dwell into this piece itself, but again, the question of wealth and generating value. What would you tell the athletes and the aspiring athletes in the room on this subject? Yeah.
I think they have to develop a pathway which would enable them to have income from multiple sources, investments in assets, investment in IPs, or creating their own strong social media base, having really strong fans, because that's what's going to get them a lot of brand endorsements as well. Very, very important. Have good relationship with advertisers, sponsors. After they are retiring, have good relationship in terms of coaching. So have at least plan A, B, C, D, E. So if one plan doesn't work out, they have a safety net of plan B, C, D, and E.
As with any profession. Well, first of all, guys, thank you so much to all my panelists. It was fantastic. We could keep on listening to you guys and learn more. But I think we're out of time, Murida. But yeah, thanks.
Each of these panels you can keep going for about an hour. And every year at the end of the conclave, Shormishta and I sit together and say, we should have had more time. We should have had more time. We've gone up from 1 day to 2 days, 2 days to 3 days. How much can you go? But once again, thank you very much, everyone part of this panel. Mahesh, Vijay, Shrikant, the entire panel, Anant, Samir, Yashpal, Gaurav. And to felicitate this particular panel, may I please call upon Vineet. Vineet, the apparel that a lot of us were wearing, the Trailblazers apparel, has been done by his brand T10. He and I go back several years. He also does the TSK 25, the ProCam Marathon. Vineet, may I please have you on stage? Amrut, may I please have you on stage? Amrut, senior partner and founder, Game Changer Law Advisors, to felicitate this particular panel, ladies and gentlemen. Please, can I have a round of applause for all my panelists? Go. And then all of you please step up for a photo op. All of you come forward please for a photo op. I'm going to join in. You have to give these, yeah, please. Gaurav, tumi samne jao. Get everyone and that's the, I'm going to join in and that's the final photo up for the panel. And samne aa jaiye. All of you together. Samir, all of you together. Yeah, please. Joy, all our photographers to please come together. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. Time to move on to the next panel. And this time round, I mean, I don't need to say much. It's time to just call them on stage. Creating more gold medal stories. India's greatest para-athlete. Multiple gold medals at the Paralympic Games, breaking close to 20 world records in his career. Whether it is the Tokyo Games, whether it is the Paris Games, the World Championship, throwing more than 70 meters with the javelin. Put your hands together for the one and only, the greatest, Sumit Until. You know, I was there for Sumit's event. I was there for the next panelist as well. And those three tenors in archery, India has always underachieved. In archery, we have always come close and could not do it. This man finally did it at the Paris archery range at the Ore Valley Day. Put your hands together for Padma Shri Harendra Singh. The last time a medal was given in Paris and the tricolor had to go up for this man. His Makasam story is universal. Put your hands together for Navdeep Singh. And finally, several athletes will tell you he has made a huge difference to Indian sport. A lot of these athletes will also vouch for him. Put your hands together for former India hockey captain Virendra Singh. And to moderate this panel, two people who specialize now in covering Paralympic sport. My two very, very sort of close colleagues and precious colleagues, Trisha Ghoshal and Rohan Chaudhary.
Hello. Yeah. Sorry, there were some adjustments our camera person wanted, but what a panel to start off. In the esteemed company, Rohan, we are all gold medalists. Sumit bhai, सबसे पहले आपसे शुरू करते हैं. 2020 गोल्ड मेडल, 2024 गोल्ड मेडल. दो सवाल पूछूंगी. एक कि गोल्ड मेडल सबसे हाईएस्ट है, तो दोबारा टोक्यो के बाद वो मोटिवेशन रखना कि एक और मेडल जीतना है कभी कभी मुश्किल होता है. और दूसरा सवाल ये है कि ये कंसिस्टेंसी आप कैसे मेंटेन कर, आपने क्या किया जो अभी आपने कंसिस्टेंसी मेंटेन कर रखा है.
सभी को नमस्ते. टोक्यो पैरालंपिक्स की बात करें, वहाँ पे गोल्ड मेडल आ गया, वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड हो गया, बट एक मन में वो बात रह गई थी क्योंकि एक 70 मीटर का जो मार्क है वो मैं वहाँ पे ब्रेक करना चाहता था, तो वहाँ पे वो नहीं हो पाया. तो मेरे को यही था कि जल्दी से जल्दी उस मार्क को अचीव करना है जो सोच के चले थे हम. तो पहले ही कर लिया था इवन पेरिस पैरालंपिक से, बट अच्छा लगा कि बैक टू बैक गोल्ड मेडल लेके आए और कोशिश करेंगे कि आने वाले LA 2020 कोशिश करेंगे पूरी.
हैट्रिक के लिए थोड़ा तो ताली हो जाए, थोड़ा तो मोटिवेशन मिल जाए.
सुमित भाई, हेलो. सुमित भाई was just being humble. ये बोल के, he has always been a champion. हरविंदर पाजी, आपसे पहली मेरा सवाल रहेगा. I have been there when you created history, and you are a history maker for India. In Tokyo, first archery medal bronze, and उसके बाद gold in Paris, the first ever archery gold. And I don't know if you remember, there was a cheer, go Harvinder, and that was the lady beside you in Paris, जो सबसे पूरा stadium को थोड़ा ये करके रखा था. But my first question to you is, when Avinav Bindra won the shooting gold, it created a pool of young shooters, young sport shooters, जिनको उन्होंने motivate किया था to take up the sport. आपको क्या लगता है, being the pioneer gold medalist in archery, बहुत सारे young archers को आप motivate करने के लिए सक्षम हो गए अभी, and आगे चल के आर्चरी में और भी ज़्यादा एथलीट्स आएंगे, क्योंकि आर्चरी एक ऐसा स्पोर्ट है जिसमें हम थोड़ा सा चुक गए थे हमेशा, एंड यू क्रिएटेड दैट हिस्ट्री.
जी थैंक यू. देखिए, निश्चित तौर पर मैं समझता हूँ कि मैं खुश नसीब हूँ कि मुझे इंडिया को रिप्रेजेंट करने का मौका मिल रहा है आर्चरी में, और हिस्टोरिक मेडल जीतने का मौका मिल रहा है. और मेरा जब 2018 में पहली बार पैरा आर्चरी में मेडल आया था, उसके बाद से मैं लगातार देखता हूँ कि हमारे जो नेशनल्स में जो आर्चर्स हैं उनकी जो गिनती या संख्या वो बढ़ती जा रही है. तो मैं 2018 के मुकाबले अभी टोक्यो के बाद जितने आर्चर थे, इस बार वो डबल हो चुके हैं पेरिस के बाद. हमारी अभी जयपुर में नेशनल हुई है जनवरी में. तो निश्चित तौर पर मुझे लगता है कि ये जो मेडल हैं, चाहे मेरे अलावा मेरे को आर्चर्स ने एशियन गेम पैरा एशियन गेम्स में जीते, तो बिल्कुल वो ये मेडल मोटिवेट करते हैं और ज़्यादा यंगस्टर्स को, और ज़्यादा पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटीज़ जो हैं वो अपना कैरियर अगर स्पोर्ट्स में बनाना चाहते हैं और वो आर्चरी चूज़ करते हैं, तो निश्चित तौर पर अगर वो हमें देखते होंगे तो डेफिनेटली वो मोटिवेट होते हैं हमारी सक्सेस से.
काफ़ी अच्छा सवाल.
बिल्कुल. और सारे मेडल से हमेशा ही नवदीप, मेडल्स जब भी आते हैं लोग तभी मोटिवेटेड ज़रूर होते हैं. पर आपकी स्टोरी जो सुबह वीरेंद्र सर ने बोली बिल्कुल सही है कि आप बार बार फोर्थ आ रहे थे, तो आप अपने आप को कैसे मोटिवेट करते रहे? आई नो कि मेडल अपने आप से मोटिवेटिंग है, पर कभी भी वो पास आके छूट जाना, सो नियर येट सो फार, कभी ऐसा लगा कि अब बस अब कोशिश नहीं करनी है?
सभी को नमस्कार. पहले तो मैंने ये जो आपने बोला कि पास आके छूट जाने पे, इस पे ना 2-4 लाइनें पढ़ी थी, इंस्टाग्राम पे ही पढ़ा था वैसे तो बहुत प्यारा लिखा था कि खुशी का दौर भी आएगा ज़िंदगी में.
वाह वाह.
खुशी का दौर भी आएगा ज़िंदगी में, गम की कौन सी हमने तमन्ना करी थी. तो एक वो मोटिवेशन था कि हमारा भी.
अरे तालियां हो जाए.
हमें पता था कि समय चेंज होगा और जब बदलाव आएगा, पर ये एक्सपेक्ट नहीं किया था कि इतना आ जाएगा कि आप इधर बुला लोगे मेरे को. पर मेरी एक्सपेक्टेशंस यही थी कि हाँ, कोबे के बाद मेरे को और थोड़ा सा सेल्फ बिलीव हुआ कि हाँ भाई, मेरे अंदर काबिलियत है, मैं अभी ख़त्म नहीं हुआ हूँ, ये जस्ट बिगिनिंग है. और बाकी तो ये था कि मैंने कंटिन्यू रखा और नेगेटिव कुछ आने ही नहीं दिया कि मेरे से नहीं हो पाएगा या मैं नहीं कर पाऊँगा. हमेशा यही था कि नहीं यार, मेरा भी दिन आएगा.
बहुत ही बढ़िया. एंड इट्स ऑलवेज अ प्लेजर टू लिसन टू नवदीप स्पीकिंग, बिकॉज एवरी टाइम ही स्पीक्स we all look forward to ये क्या बोलेगा आप. So Viren sir, my next question is to you. I have been following your work with OGQ, and you have been a top player in your playing career. But now that as a part of an organization like OGQ, funding and supporting players, so what are the key points, criteria that you look into an athlete before investing in that person? Because it's not just about supporting, it's also a cause for the future to develop the sport as a whole. And the next one is also 2 questions. And the next one is coming to the Paralympics as a sport, it gives us so much many more, not comparing, but we get a lot more medals in Paralympics as compared to Olympics. Right, so do you think that Paralympics itself can be a more monetized property from the investor's perspective?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be over here. To answer the first question, OGQ is a not-for-profit foundation. We look after the training and preparation of some of India's best Olympic and Paralympic athletes. Just to give you a sense, we support about 410 athletes currently from about 9 individual Olympic sports and about 9 individual Paralympic sports. Some of the priority sports in Olympics are badminton, boxing, shooting, archery, wrestling. We also support athletes from table tennis, athletics, squash, weightlifting, etc. In para sport, para athletics, para shooting, para archery, para badminton, these are some of our priority sports. Out of the 410 athletes, broad divisions are about 300 from Olympic sport and about 110 from para sport. And totally about 150 athletes are in the age group of 11 to 19 years old. So building for the future. So we started supporting Sindhu when she was 13 years old. Lakshya Sen when he was 10 years old. Manu Bakar and Aman when they were 14 years old. So I guess in Olympic sport especially, where there are structured junior programs in place, you're able to identify much earlier. I think the sole criteria that we see when we're identifying athletes, and we have a full-fledged research team that is in Olympic sport, looking at in our priority sports especially, every under 10, under 12, under 14, under 16 tournaments at district level, state level, national level. So, and we know benchmarks in every sport. And we're looking at not just one-off performances, but consistency. But in India, you have to understand that you cannot only be objective. You have to be a little bit subjective in your research. And the reason for that is most athletes, especially in sports like boxing, wrestling, weightlifting, archery, come from actually very poor backgrounds. The dichotomy in India is where the money and resources and coaches are, the hunger and talent is not there so much. But actually where the hunger and fire and talent is there the money and resources is not there. You have to try and marry the two. And take for example a young archer, 13, 14 years old, coming from a remote village in Jharkhand. She cannot afford archery equipment that costs 4 lakhs. So you have to ensure that there has to be a level playing field, and you have to be subjective. If they don't have the right equipment, or if they don't have the right coach, or they don't have the right infrastructure, how will they benchmark with a 14-year-old talented archer in the US or other parts of the world? And so we have to be a little subjective. But finally, merit and potential is the heart of every decision that we make in terms of identifying a young talent for the future with the potential to win Olympic medals. And then we support them in terms of ensuring they have the best coaches, especially because for them to win, for Sumit, Harvinder, Navdeep to win Paralympic medals, I would say the coach is the most important ingredient. Without a coach, there's no chance, because javelin, archery, they're very technical sports. If we don't teach our most talented young kids who are 11, 12, 13 years old, whether it's hockey or badminton or javelin or archery, the right technique at that age, when they're 17, 18, 19, is going to be too late. So we identify the right coaches, we ensure that they're in the right training facilities, the right equipment. In sports like shooting, archery, the equipment is critical. In para sport, many of them need prosthetics. The quality of the prosthetic is critical. We've tried to put a team of world-class doctors, physios, nutritionists, mental trainers, everything in the back end, because I think at the highest level of sport, like Harvinder's, maybe 3 10s under pressure, or Sumit or Navdeep, the fight till the very end where he and the other, I think Iranian boy who finally got disqualified, they were literally exchanging the lead, throwing. Navdeep kept on throwing his personal best. Sumit is fighting with the closest cover. It's going to boil down to the small margins, to the 1%ers. And it's about getting 1% better in our fitness, in endurance, in recovery, in nutrition, in equipment, in coaching, in mental strength. If we get 1% better in each of these aspects, I think India can win far more medals. And to the second question, in terms of the monetization of para sport, I would say that OGQ is a not-for-profit foundation. We raise funds to support athletes. It's actually been a wonderful experience. By the way, Navdeep and Harvinder are two of the first athletes back in 2019 to be supported by us. So it's been a lovely journey. I've actually, I would say, I've not faced problems raising funding from corporates to support para sport. If there's any cause where the people involved are credible, and at OGQ, Geet Sethi, Prakash Padukone, Vishwanathan Anand, you don't get better credibility than that. If there's accountability, if there's transparency, and finally, by all of them showing great impact with their performances, they cannot be someone better than Sumit and Till over here. They cannot be better than Harvinder, than Navdeep. If you show impact through performances, I feel there's no dearth of funding in India, whether CSR or sponsorship. We cannot go to corporates with a begging bowl. We have to go to corporates with a plan.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Taking a cue from what Viren sir was saying, that 1%, mental strength. Harvinder, the last point, you hit a 10-pointer in the end. But I'm talking about that moment where, you were just aiming the archery. A lot of mental toughness is needed to reach that moment and keep calm. So exactly what are the strategies, or how do you work on that, keeping yourself maybe at that moment, at that present moment?
जी देखिए जैसा आर्चरी मेंटल एज वेल एज फिज़िकली इस तरीके का नेचर है गेम का, तो मुझे लगता है कि उस टाइम थॉट्स का बहुत ज़्यादा गेम होता है हमारे माइंड में। जब हम शूटिंग लाइन पे हमारे पास 3 एरोज शूट करने को हैं, तो क्या थॉट्स आ रहे हैं आपके माइंड पे। जब आपने एरो पुल कर लिया है तो उस टाइम आपके माइंड में क्या आ रहा है। तो मुझे लगता है कि शुरू से ही इस तरीके की ट्रेनिंग हुई है मेरी। कुछ टैलेंट था और उसे और ज़्यादा निखारा मेरे कोचेज़ ने कि मोमेंटम नहीं खोना। हालांकि जब मैं फाइनल में पहुंच गया था एक बार बहुत खुश हुआ कि मेरा मेडल अपग्रेड हो गया है, लेकिन मेरे माइंड में तभी आया कि अभी खुश होने का मतलब है कि मैं तो सिल्वर से ही सेटिस्फाई हूँ। तो तभी मैंने कोच से डिस्कस किया कि नहीं, मुझे परफॉर्म करना है फाइनल में। तो उन्होंने भी काफ़ी चीज़ें बताई कि हमें मेडल्स पे ध्यान नहीं देना, हमें परफॉर्मेंस पे ध्यान देना। अगर आप अच्छा शूट करोगे तो जीतोगे। तो मुझे लगता है कि यही चीज़ है। जब टोक्यो में मेडल जीता था तो उसके बाद भी, मेडल जीतने के बाद मैंने ज़्यादा चीयर्स नहीं किया क्योंकि ऑडियंस नहीं थी वहाँ पे कोविड के टाइम। तो उस मोमेंटम में निकलने में फिर टाइम लगता है। आप इतने ज़्यादा डीप चले जाते हो अपने आप में कि आपको फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता कि ये आपका लास्ट एरो है या ये मैच विनिंग एरो है। और कई बार वो फ़र्क कुछ टाइम बाद पड़ता है, लेकिन इस बार वहाँ पे ऑडियंस थी, अच्छा चीयर कर रही थी और मैंने वो मोमेंटम बना कर रखा। मेरे गेम में जो प्रेशर होता है वो मेरे माइंड की बजाय मेरी बॉडी में आ जाता है। तो मेरा माइंड प्रेशर में नहीं था, लेकिन मेरी बॉडी पे वो जो वाइब्रेशन थी प्रेशर की वो साफ झलक रही थी। लेकिन मैं कामयाब रहा अपने जो तीनों एरो होते हैं उनको मैक्सिमम स्कोर में लैंड करवाने में।
जी रोहन।
Absolutely. I had a question to Sumit Bhai. Sumit Bhai is one of my favorite athletes, I would say. I have been following him since long. Sumit Bhai, इस बार 2025 will be a benchmark for para sports because we are hosting 2 major international tournaments in India. The Grand Prix is currently on, and now in the end of the year we have the World Championship for the first time. So, कितना important होता है to host such big events in India on the home soil, not only for elite athletes like you, but at the grassroots and the young athletes जो शायद afford नहीं कर सकते to fly abroad and participate in the tournaments. And how important will this be for our road to LA 28, because we are hoping for a top 10 medal finish in LA and might be a 50+ medals tally. Your thoughts?
देखिए, किसी भी कंट्री का अगर जो यूथ को किसी डायरेक्शन में लेके जाना होता है, वचन स्पोर्टिंग कल्चर वहाँ पे क्रिएट करना अगर जो कोई चाहता है, तो उसके लिए बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट होता है कि वहाँ पे मेजर टूर्नामेंट्स होस्ट किए जाएं। काफ़ी एक्साइटेड हूँ क्योंकि फ़र्स्ट टाइम इंडियन क्राउड के बीच में परफॉर्म करूँगा। क्योंकि आज तक कोई ऐसा इंटरनेशनल टूर्नामेंट हुआ नहीं है इंडिया में जिसमें बहुत सारे अच्छे अच्छे एथलीट्स, जैसे मेरी कैटेगरी में ऑस्ट्रेलियन एथलीट है, श्रीलंकन एथलीट है, काफ़ी अच्छे हैं। तो मैं काफ़ी एक्साइटेड हूँ अपनी पब्लिक के बीच में जब वो मेरे को चीयर कर रहे होंगे तो। बट हमसे ज़्यादा क्योंकि हमें परफॉर्म करना है, चाहे वो यहाँ हो चाहे कहीं पे भी हो, बट मेरे को लगता है कि जो ग्रास रूट लेवल पे जो एथलीट्स हैं उनके लिए ये बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले करेगा। क्योंकि मेरे को अभी भी याद है जब 2012 में मैं रेसलिंग करता था एक्सीडेंट से पहले, तो हमारे स्कूल में योगेश्वर दत्त मेडल लेके आए थे, तो वो हमारे स्कूल में एज अ चीफ गेस्ट आए थे। तो उनको देख के वही हुआ कि हाँ मेरे को भी एक ना एक दिन ओलंपिक्स में मेडल लेके आना है, और इनकी तरह जिस तरह से मान सम्मान इनको मिल रहा है तो वो मेरे को भी लेना है। तो बहुत सारी ऐसी चीज़ें होती हैं जो बड़े एथलीट्स को देख के ही फील कर लेता है एथलीट की हाँ जिस उनमें क्या क्या अलग बात है जो उस लेवल पे ग्रास रूट लेवल वाले एथलीट्स परफॉर्म नहीं कर पा रहे। और मोटिवेशन के रूप में तो फॉर श्योर कि ये बहुत ही बड़ा स्टेप है, और मैं पर्सनली काफ़ी एक्साइटेड हूँ इंडिया में, और कोशिश करेंगे कि अपना बेस्ट दूँ।
एंड सेकेंड वाला आपने आंसर नहीं किया, एलए में 50+ का।
देखिए एलए काफ़ी दूर है अभी, तो इतनी बड़ी कमिटमेंट आई डोंट थिंक कि ठीक रहेगी मेरे लिए बट मैं कोशिश करूँगा कि मैं गोल्ड मेडल लेके आऊँ।
सुमित के हाथ में तो एक ही मेडल है, बाकी जितने हमारे बिगिनर लेके आएंगे उनको मोटिवेशन अगर इसके थ्रू जितना मिलता है, जितने एथलीट आगे आते हैं उसका ज़्यादा होगा। हम सब तो इंडिविजुअल वाले हैं, एक एक लाएंगे। हालांकि हाँ बूंद बूंद से सागर भरता है, पर जितना न्यू कमर्स इस वर्ल्ड चैम्पियनशिप से और इस ग्रैंड प्रिक्स से जुड़ेंगे उतना अच्छा स्कोर हमारा LA28 का होगा।
And Navdeep,
but we have to make sure कि इसका इम्पैक्ट जाए जो इमर्जिंग एथलीट्स है, ऐसा ना हो कि ये फेड अवे हो जाए, क्योंकि मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स होता है कि कोई और मेजर टूर्नामेंट्स होता है तो वो इतना बड़ा एफर्ट्स फेड अवे हो जाता है कहीं ना कहीं। तो वी हैव टू मेक श्योर कि इसका इम्पैक्ट ग्रास रूट लेवल के एथलीट्स पे जाए।
एब्सोल्युटली। और इन्होंने एंड भी किया है, क्योंकि हमें अभी ऑब्वियसली पैनल एंड करना है, करने का मन तो नहीं है पर करना तो पड़ेगा। दे एंडेड ऑन ब्यूटिफुल नोट रोहन, यू नो द पैनल नेम इज क्रिएटिंग मोर गोल्ड मेडल स्टोरीज, एंड नवदीप, सुमित सब ने बोला है कि जितना कंपटीशन बढ़ेगा खुद के घर पे होगा, एंड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंटली दिस 29 मेडल्स ओवरऑल हैज़ brought the whole, India has risen to Paralympics. I'm sure a lot more people will take up Paralympic sport as well. वही ना तभी ना 29-50 पे convert करेंगे हम लोग.
Absolutely, because now we can see that even the Prime Minister is so much involved in parasports. And Navdeep, I was talking to Navdeep in the podcast, and he mentioned about the story when Prime Minister actually sat and Navdeep actually उनको पहनाया medal. So all this shows commitment and the overall raise in parasports.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It was a stellar panel. And can I now call on Boria Majumdar to continue?
I was also listening to the stories, and each of these three, I mean, when you listen to their stories and you think about Paris, you think about Tokyo, and all of it comes in front of you. When Harvinder finished and put his hand up at the Valley and we cheered for him, those incredible moments. When Sumit threw that 71, after that when you interview him and he says, no, 71, not happy, had to be 75. And you're like, what, really? Olympic, Paralympic gold, you're still not happy? And Navdeep, obviously. I mean, that Iranian guy, Navdeep consoling that Iranian guy. I mean, think about it. He's just won a Paralympic gold medal. He's got to know that he's won a Paralympic gold medal. And yet, he first went and congratulated and consoled that Iranian guy who lost the medal because of the disqualification. That takes a lot of sportsman spirit. And Viren Raskina, day in, day out, pushing athletes, nurturing them, backing them, creating a healthier, a fitter India, a better India. I wish there were more like Viren, more like Navdeep, more like Sumit, and of course more like Harvinder. And Navdeep rightly says, Sumit is not only his role model, he's one of our role models around the country. And I keep saying this, one of our greatest Paralympic athletes, Sumit Antin. This is a two-part felicitation, ladies and gentlemen, two parts. One, The first part, my dear friend, founder of Wow Momo, Sagar Daryani, to felicitate this panel. Gold medal stories, and he himself is a gold medal story, from rags to riches, a company that is now all over India. Welcome, Sagar, to felicitate our panelists. Folks, please. And by the way, as Sagar felicitates, I will tell you a quick Navdeep story. Navdeep was on a show with me and I asked Navdeep, aap 28 mein kheloge? And I'm expecting an answer. He looks at me and says, sir, main to bachcha hu. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, what do you say? But that's it. Guys, come closer, but there's one part to it. Let's take this photo up. Come closer. Thoda samne aa jaiye because of the photo up. And then I will call my dear friend, my publisher, Shayantan Ghosh from Simon & Schuster on stage, please, for a very special announcement. Shayantan, wherever you are, there you are. Come on stage, come on stage. You know, it gives me a lot of pleasure. Come on stage. It gives me a lot of pleasure, and I wanted Shayantan to be part of this moment. We have decided, I have decided, and with me to be doing this project, Trisha and Rohan. My next book is titled The Paralympic Revolution. And these people have made it possible. Trisha and Rohan will both be working with me on that book. Shayantan, over to you to say a couple of words as we finish this panel. Formal announcement.
Good evening, everyone. I won't take too much time, but thank you for this opportunity, Boryada. At Simon & Schuster, we are absolutely proud and delighted that we'll be working on this exemplary book together. This is going to be our 6th collaboration together. I've been his editor for the last, I don't know how many years. Yeah, 10 years. But I think this is going to be our most special book, celebrating all the heroes which are champions, who we all look up to. So yeah, over to 2026 when the book is going to come out, and we'll see you again and celebrate it together.
So we are serious about our sport. To document India's Paralympic journey from Murlikant Petkar to Sumit Antil and Harendra Singh and Navdeep Singh this whole year will take a lot of effort, and I will keep bugging them for interviews and insights and all of that, and they know it. They love us. But thank you very much, everybody. Harvinder Paji, Sumit, Navdeep, Viren, you got to tell me a lot of stories, Viren, Rohan, Sagar, Shayantan, and to all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Moving on to the next panel. Kolkataয় conclave hobe, Mohun Bagan hobe na, eta কিভাবে সম্ভব? কলকাতায় কনক্লেভ হবে, মোহনবাগান কালকে শিল্ড জিতবে অফিশিয়ালি, আর আমরা বাংলায় কিছু একটা করব না, এটা কিভাবে সম্ভব? How is it possible that there is no Mohun Bagan panel? How is it possible that we don't talk about the Kolkata derby? It is not possible. So the next panel, ladies and gentlemen, and yesterday Sunil Chhetri has decided to come out of retirement. What do our legends feel about that? Welcome on stage for the next panel called Mohun Bagan Supergiant. Is this the best ISL team ever? One of Mohun Bagan's greatest footballers, known as Shobuj Tota Barreto, Jose Ramirez Barreto, to come on stage, please. Okay. Two of my very close friends, both national footballers, both have left an imprint on our football. Alvito Dikuna and Syed Rahim Nabi. Someone who won Bengal the Santosh Trophy this year, former coach of Mohun Bagan Club. Put your hands together for Sanjay Sen. And you've already seen him on stage multiple times as part of the conclave. Shongbad Pratidin Chief Editor, former General Secretary of Mohun Bagan Club, Srinjoy Bosch. Where is he? Ah, there he is. Bhai, ekটু ছেড়ে দাও, ওকে আসতে দাও. Yes. And to moderate this panel, two people who are there in the Maidan every day. Roj jai. Two of our football correspondents. the most traveled Indian journalist ever as far as cricket and football is concerned. And you're laughing, I'm not joking, this is serious stuff. Put your hands together for Debashish Sen, i.e. Mama. And to join Debashish on stage, someone who has made a mark in the last year and a half, as a football writer, as a football journalist, Rahul Giri, over to both of you.
Thank you, Borida, for this opportunity, first of all, and also introducing all of us. And as Borida mentioned, of course, we are doing this session to celebrate the historic victory of Mohun Bagan back-to-back shield. And also alongside that, you know, last night, our captain, leader and legend, Sunil Chhetri, has surprised all of us coming back from the retirement. So we'll talk on these 2 points, and also alongside that, you know, Mohun Bagan, jani amra champion hoye geche, that's past, but also in the upcoming days, মোহন বাগানের মতন বাংলার যাতে বাকি দলগুলো যাতে চ্যাম্পিয়ন হতে পারে, আরও এরকম চ্যাম্পিয়ন ফুটবলার প্রডিউস করতে পারে, তো সেই জায়গাটা বাংলার ফুটবলে কী কী বাধা হয়ে দাঁড়াচ্ছে সেগুলো কীভাবে উপেক্ষা করে যাওয়া যায় সেই সমস্ত কিছু নিয়ে আলোচনা করব। ফার্স্ট অফ অল অবভিয়াসলি আই উইল গো টু ফর্মার মোহন বাগান ফুটবলার হোসে ভ্যারাটো. I will ask him because you know he follows Mohun Bagan matches regularly, and after every Mohun Bagan match, you know, he posts a message in the social media. He send wishes to the team, to the fans. So in your eyes, what set this Mohun Bagan team apart from the other victorious campaign of the Mohun Bagan? You know, how this Mohun Bagan team, you know, what actually set this Mohun Bagan team apart from the other Mohun Bagan team or the victorious campaign of other Mohun Bagan team?
Hello, good evening. I think the last few years Mohun Bagan has been, you know, it's not this year, you know, but it's been, I think the last few years Mohun Bagan has been very constant, you know, in, I think in all the process, you know, the way of forming team, recruitments, and they've been quite consistent into that. And I think it's resulting, you know, yes, to become a champion. But it's not this year. Definitely, I think the squad, the team this year is very competent. You know, you can see that the quality in the team. But I don't feel that is all about this year. You know, I think the last few years Mohun Bagan is been doing very well. You know, constantly, always there. You know, within the tops. And I think this is just a kind of, you know, doing to the things that have been doing well. I think the result is winning the shield.
I will pass it to Debashish Sen for the next question.
Yeah, Barreto, obviously, talking about Mohun Bagan's dominance, you just rightly mentioned, obviously. If you talk about this team and compared to the team that won the I-League in 99-2000, it was in fact your first season for Mohun Bagan. And it is always the team that plays as a cohesive unit when the foreign players along with the national players, Indian players do well, that sets the team apart. And that team had someone like you, Stephen Aborohi, Dusit, Igor Skivrin. So would you say that that team was also, will come close second to this team?
See, I always, when I'm looking back, you know, that one of the functions had been Mohun Bagan, when Mohun Bagan was also, I think it was a Mohun Bagan Day, one of their functions where also all the ex-players also were there from generation of Sanjoy Sen. And see, everyone, they're having their own, you know, times and their own challenges as well. You know, and I just feel that it's a kind of a building up process. I think their generations, I think they have done a lot of football where the next generation was there, and where we are able also to building up also within that structure, we are able to do something also. I feel my generation, our generation over here with Vito and Nabi, I think it was a great generation as well. It's a good one. We're really able to keep in the level, to keep in the competition there. And comparing to this one is difficult, you know, because everyone, they have their own stories, their own struggles, you know, their own fights. I think we fight also, you know, to keep in that level high as well. I think the way the generation of Sanjoy Sen was important. I think our generation was important as well. And of course, this generation also now of Mohun Bagan is very important because, yeah, the next has to come also. I think all the team was quite good. It was good memories because we won things. I think Sanjoy Sen is going to tell also about his good memories as well during these times. My time, good memories, and I feel also this new Mohun Bagan also is going to keep in good memories also for the next generation.
ভেরি নাইস। আমি এরপর সঞ্জয় দার কাছে যাব, আমাদের সকলেরই প্রিয়, অ্যান্ড দেন আই উইল কাম ওয়ান বাই ওয়ান। সঞ্জয় দার আমার জীবনে একটা বেশ ভালো মেমোরি আছে। আমার মনে হয় হয়তো আমি কোনোদিন মোহনবাগান ভক্ত হতামই না যদি 2015 সেই রাতটা মোহনবাগান যদি গিফট না করতো, টু বি অনেস্ট। সঞ্জয় দা, তবে উইল টেক আ ডিফারেন্ট পার্ট ইন দিস কোয়েশ্চেন, সেটা হচ্ছে ওই মোহনবাগান দলে যদি আমরা দেখি 2015 যে চ্যাম্পিয়ন মোহনবাগান, আই লিগ জয়ী মোহনবাগান, সেটাতে 10টারও বেশি বাংলার ফুটবলার ছিল, 10 জনের বেশি স্কোয়াড, রিজার্ভ বেঞ্চ এবং প্লেইং 11 মিলিয়ে। বাট এই মোহনবাগানে যদি দেখি আমরা দুজন, দীপেন্দু বিশ্বাস, সুভাশিস বোস, আর রিজার্ভ বেঞ্চ মিলালে আরেকজন রাজবাস পরে 3 জন। এটা কি বাংলার ফুটবলের জন্য চিন্তাদায়ক? হ্যাঁ, অবভিয়াসলি উই আর সেলিব্রেটিং মোহনবাগান ভিক্টরি, বাট অ্যাট দ্য সেম টাইম
দেখো, দুটো ভিন্ন টুর্নামেন্ট, একটা আই লিগ অ্যান্ড দিস ইজ আইএসএল অ্যাকচুয়ালি। পরিকাঠামো আলাদা এবং কম্পেয়ার ওইভাবে করা যায় না, কারণ আমি যখন দায়িত্ব নিই সেই সময় সবাই জানে মোহনবাগান টিম ওয়াজ স্ট্রাগলিং উইনিং ট্রফিজ, সো ইট ওয়াজ আ চ্যালেঞ্জিং অ্যাকচুয়ালি। অ্যান্ড আমাকে যখন কোচ করা হয় কেউ ভাবতে পারেনি যে একজন কে, আমার পরিচিতিটাই ছিল না, কে একজন সঞ্জয় সেন, সে আবার কী করবে। তো এনিওয়ে, ছেলেদের কৃতিত্ব, আমরা খুব ভালো জায়গায় ছিলাম, আবার স্ট্রাগল করেছি, 2-3টে ম্যাচ হেরে গিয়েছিলাম, সেটা ছেড়ে দাও, কিন্তু তার সাথে এইটার তুলনা কখনো হয় না। সেই আবেগ, সেই ভালোবাসা, সেইগুলো এখন আমরা যদি ময়দান দিয়ে হাঁটি, ইফ ইউ ওয়াক গো থ্রু দ্য ময়দান এরিয়া, উই উইল মিস দোজ ডেজ অ্যাকচুয়ালি। দ্য প্যাশন দ্যাট, ওই আবেগটা আই কান্ট এক্সপ্লেন ইট ওয়ার্ড অ্যাকচুয়ালি, ভাষায় প্রকাশ করা যায় না যে অনুভূতিগুলো। ঠিক আছে, মোহনবাগান গত বছর চ্যাম্পিয়ন হয়েছে, এই বছর চ্যাম্পিয়ন হয়েছে, হয়তো ডাবল অ্যাচিভ করবে এই বছর যদি সেটা করতে পারে। অলরেডি মুম্বাই একবার অ্যাচিভ করেছে ডাবল, দুটো শিল্ড অ্যান্ড দ্য ট্রফি অলসো, বাট ওইটার সাথে এইটা কখনো তুলনা হয় না। ইয়েস, আমার নিশ্চয়ই, আমরা যেহেতু বাঙালি নিশ্চয়ই গর্বিত যে বাংলার দল এতবার এইভাবে ট্রফি জিতছে, এবং বাঙালি ছেলে আমরা সবসময় খুঁজি। সুভাশিস বোস একমাত্র ছেলে, এখন দিব্যেন্দু সবে ঢুকছে। তো এটা তো আমার, মানে আমি কিভাবে আনসার দেবো জানি না, যারা রিক্রুট করে, এবং আমি নিজে বিশ্বাস করি বাঙালি ছেলেরা আছে, সেই সুযোগটা দেবার সৎ সাহস হয়তো কোচেরা দেখাতে পারেন না, কারণ আই এম নট ক্রিটিসাইজিং, বাট অল আর ফরেন কোচেস। আই এম নট শিওর তারা বাংলার ফুটবল বা ভারতীয় ফুটবল সম্বন্ধে তাদের কি ধারণা আছে সেটা ভগবান জানেন। 5 বছর ভারতে কোচ করে সব কিছু যদি জেনে যায়, যাকে কোচ করা হয়েছে এখন ম্যানিলো মার্কোয়েজকে, এএফএফ, অ্যাকর্ডিং টু এএফএফ, উনি অনেক ভারতীয় ফুটবলটা অনেক বেশি বোঝেন, যারা ভারতীয় ফুটবলে দীর্ঘদিন ধরে কাজ করেছেন তাদের থেকে বেশি বোঝেন। তো তারা যদি বোঝেন যে বাঙালি ছেলেদের থেকে অন্যান্য ছেলেরা বেটার, তাদের জন্য তো সেইভাবে তারা এগোচ্ছে। এবং আজকে যদি মোহনবাগানের কথা বলি, সেম যারা রিক্রুটমেন্টে আছেন তারা বলতে পারবেন, এই আনসার তো আমার পক্ষে দেওয়া সম্ভব না। আমি যখন কোচ ছিলাম, আমি যখন ইউনাইটেড স্পোর্টসে কোচ ছিলাম, প্রবীর দাস, প্রণয় হালদার, নারায়ণ দাস তখন ডেম্পোতে খেলতো। আমি ইউনাইটেড স্পোর্টসের হয়ে যখন ম্যাচ খেলতে যেতাম, আমি ওদের সাথে বলতাম যে তোমরা কেন বাংলায় খেলছো না। তো আমি তখন জানতাম না যে আমি মোহনবাগান বা মোহামেডানের কোচ হব। ওয়েন আই গট দ্য অপরচুনিটি, আই কল দেম, ইউ জাস্ট কাম অ্যান্ড স্ট্রেট অ্যাওয়ে জয়েন দিস ক্লাব। That's why so many Bengal players are playing for Mohun Bagan, East Bengal and Mohammedan Sporting. So this depends upon the recruiters, the officials and so on. So আবার বলছি, আই লিগের সাথে এইটার তুলনা হয় না। এখন যে জেনারেশন তারা দারুণভাবে উপভোগ করছে, এবং আগামী দিনেও আরও ভালোভাবে উপভোগ করুক, এটাই আমি চাই। যেহেতু আমি আই লিগের 15 সালে কোচ ছিলাম, আমি বলবো যে ওইটা ভালো বা এটা খারাপ। জাস্ট নাও দ্য ব্যারেটোকে যখন প্রশ্ন করা হয়েছিল, তখন অ্যাট দ্যাট টাইম হোয়াট ইজ দ্য ফিলিংস অ্যাবাউট দোজ ডেজ অ্যান্ড নাও ডেজ। সো উই ক্যান ডিফারেন্সিয়েট ইন দিস ওয়ে। সো থ্যাংক ইউ। এটাই আমার, মানে মনে হয় আমার উত্তর এইটাই।
100বার সঞ্জয় দা, কেন কম্প্যারিজন চলে না, বিভিন্ন এরার, কিন্তু একটা কথা কিন্তু মানতেই হবে যে সেবারের দলটা যখন আই লিগ চ্যাম্পিয়ন হয়েছিল, 3 ঘন্টা লেগেছিল দমদম বিমানবন্দর থেকে মোহনবাগান তাঁবুতে আসতে, এবং যে উচ্ছ্বাস দেখেছিলাম আমরা, মোহনবাগান জনতার যে উচ্ছ্বাস দেখেছিলাম সেটা সত্যি বলার মতন নয়। সিমিলার আমরা দেখেছিলাম যে ওড়িশা এফসি ম্যাচটাতেও কিন্তু মোহনবাগান সমতুল্য 57,000 লোক কিন্তু যুবভারতীতে ছিল, এবং আরও একবার আমরা আগামীকাল দেখতে পাবো যখন এফসি গোয়ার বিরুদ্ধে মোহনবাগান নামবে, কেননা ইট ইজ এক্সপেক্টেড দ্যাট ইট উইল বি আ ফুল হাউস, এবং অফিসিয়ালি আইএসএল লিগ শিলটাও কিন্তু তুলে দেওয়া হবে সুভাষিসের। সঞ্জয়দার কাছে একটা জিনিস জানবো, সঞ্জয়দা, টকিং অ্যাবাউট বেঙ্গল ফুটবলার্স, সুভাষিসের কত বড় ভূমিকা ছিল অ্যাজ আ ক্যাপ্টেন? অবভিয়াসলি হি হ্যাজ লেড ফ্রম দ্য ফ্রন্ট। তো আপনি একটু আগেই যে বললেন বাঙালি ফুটবলারদের কথা, কিন্তু সুভাষিসের রোলটা নিয়ে আপনি কি বলবেন?
মানে একা কুম্ভ রক্ষা করে নকল বুদ্ধিগরের মতো ব্যাপারটা, যে আমি একা বাঙালি এবং আমাকে দেখে বাঙালি ছেলেরা যারা দোজ বেঙ্গলি বয়েজ দোজ লুকিং ফর প্লেইং ফর দ্য বিগ ক্লাবস অর প্লেইং ফর ইন্ডিয়া, ইয়েস দে শুড বি মোটিভেটেড ফলোয়িং সুভাষিস বোস। এবং সুভাষিসের জন্যই হয়তো দিব্যেন্দু আরও বেশি ইন্সপায়ার্ড হয়েছে, যখন সুযোগ পেয়েছে সেটাকে কাজে লাগানোর চেষ্টা করেছে। তো সুভাষিস বোসের যখন নাম উঠলো, আমি লোভ সম্বরণ করতে পারছি না, কারণ 2015-এ আমি যখন স্পোর্টিং ক্লাব দি গোয়া, ইন গোয়া উই আর প্লেয়িং এগেন্স্ট স্পোর্টিং ক্লাব দি গোয়া, তো ইটস মাই হ্যাবিট, আমার অভ্যাস প্লেয়ার লিস্টে চোখ বোলানো। তো যখন খেলা শেষ হয়ে গেছে, আমি প্লেয়ার লিস্টে যখন চোখ বোলাই তখন দেখছি সুভাষিস বোস ওয়াজ প্লেয়িং অ্যাজ আ সেন্টার ব্যাক against Mohun Bagan team, and that match the result was 0-0 or 1-1, I can't remember. Anyway, তো নেক্সট ইয়ার আমি আমার অফিসিয়াল বাপ্পা আমার সাথে ছিল, আমি বললাম বাপ্পা এই ছেলেটাকে মোহনবাগানে সই করাও। তো 2016-17-এ সুভাষিস বোস মোহনবাগানে জয়েন করে, তারপরে তার নিজস্ব কৃতিত্ব অনুযায়ী সে আজকে ন্যাশনাল টিম খেলছে বলো, বা আজকে মোহনবাগান হয়ে মানে একটা এত বড় একটা লিড রোল প্লে করছে এবং ক্যাপ্টেন্স আর্মব্যান্ড পরে। তো এটা ভালো, এবং বাঙালি ছেলেরা যাতে উজ্জীবিত হয়, আগামী দিনে যাতে স্বপ্ন দেখতে পারে সুভাষিসের পারফরমেন্স দেখে। এবং আমার মনে হয়েছে ডে বাই ডে, যত প্রথম দিকে একটু স্ট্রাগল করছিল ডিফেন্ডিংয়ে একটুখানি, কারণ ওর রিকভারি স্পিডটা আমার বরাবরই একটু স্লো ছিল, তো স্ট্রাগল করছিল, কিন্তু 6খানা গোল করেছে। এবং একটা হাতে যখন মোহনবাগানের মতো টিমের একটা আর্মব্যান্ড পড়ে, দায়িত্বটা অনেক বেড়ে যায়, এবং সেই দায়িত্বটা কাঁধে নিয়ে দারুণভাবে সে তার রোলটাকে পালন করেছে, এটুকু বলতে পারি।
Nice word, Sanjay Da. And I will now go to Alvito Di Cunha, former East Bengal player and former national team footballer as well. But Alvito Da is also closely associated with East Bengal, and that's why I would like to ask him a separate question. আমার মনে হয় কদিন আগে আপনারা অনেকেই দেখেছেন একটা আইএসএল ম্যাচ চলাকালীন গ্যালারিতে একটা ফটো, যেখানে একটা বাচ্চা ছেলে একটা ব্যানার ধরে আছে, যেখানে উপরে লেখা আছে আমার মা বাবা ইস্ট বেঙ্গল বাট আমি মোহনবাগান, অ্যান্ড ইট স্পিক্স লট অফ ওয়ার্ড। সেটা হচ্ছে নেক্সট জেনারেশন is inclining more towards Mohun Bagan because of their success. And on that note, I would ask Alvito, যে আমরা অবভিয়াসলি আমরা ক্লিয়ার ইন আওয়ার আইজ যে লাস্ট 7-8 বছর আমরা যদি দেখি ইস্ট বেঙ্গলের সুপার কাপ ছাড়া আর সেরকম কোনো সাকসেস নেই। উল্টো দিকে মোহনবাগান, দে আর ডুইং কনসিস্টেন্টলি ওয়েল ইন আইএসএল। So what one thing that you would like to address that East Bengal really need to improve and they should replicate Mohun Bagan?
I think it's the culture what East Bengal really needs to change. I think it's more about the olden days, how the club used to run. So things have really changed after the corporates has come in. And as you rightly mentioned one thing about the parents, there was a banner which says the parents support East Bengal and the child supports Mohun Bagan. I think it's quite obvious nowadays. The reason being, the kids, they want to see the results. And if you talk about the results, me especially being only a East Bengal, I've not played for Mohun Bagan, but yet I can say that it's all about the performance. And that's the reason why the kids are more inspired by watching Mohun Bagan win the matches, and that's how they become Mohun Bagan supporters rather than going in favor with their parents. So I think it's good. In fact, when we used to see a lot of family members, if one family belongs to East Bengal, the next generation also used to follow the same trend. So I think this trend has changed, and the only reason is because East Bengal is not performing and Mohun Bagan are the dominant force in Indian football right now. But at least for this reason, I want East Bengal to do well, to be one of the competitors for Mohun Bagan, and definitely what we see on the banners might just change the banners from parents supporting East Bengal, kids are also supporting East Bengal. So I hope for that change to happen as soon as possible.
Okay, I think Srinjoy would like to add his opinion on this.
No, I don't agree with Alvito on one count. Alvito culture should change is fine. But see, in Mohun Bagan also corporates have come. But there has been a consistency. I think the bonhomie between the club officials and the corporates is a very important factor. This trust, building up of a trust, that's very important between, both has to rely on each other. So then only you will see that the success comes. Otherwise, mistrust and accusations, it doesn't take you anywhere. And also, if you see, আমরা সবাই একটা দলের সাপোর্টার হই যখন দেখবেন কোনো না কোনো সময় সেই টিম জেতে। যেমন দেখবেন 70 সালে প্রচুর লোক আছে যারা আমাদের একটু সিনিয়র বা এরা যারা ইস্ট বেঙ্গল সাপোর্টার, কারণ সেই সময় ইস্ট বেঙ্গল জিতত। আবার 80s দিকে কিছুটা এসে মোহনবাগানের সাপোর্টার বেড়েছে। সো এইটা কিন্তু অলওয়েজ বাড়ে, বিকজ অনেকে যারা নতুন মাঠে যাচ্ছে যে যেতে তার সাথে তারা সেটার সাথে অ্যাসোসিয়েট হয়। তো আমার মনে হয় ইস্ট বেঙ্গল আর মোহনবাগান এটা কনস্ট্যান্টলি চলতেই থাকে, যে কারোর সাপোর্টার কোনো সময় বাড়বে বা কারোর সাপোর্টার কোনো সময় কমবে।
আমি নবীকে একটা জিনিস অ্যাড করবো এই প্রসঙ্গে। নবী, তুমি দুই ক্লাবেই খেলেছো এবং সুনামের সঙ্গে খেলেছো, যে এই রিসেন্ট পাস্টে এই যে মোহনবাগানের যে ডমিনেন্স এবং ইস্টবেঙ্গল সেরকম সাফল্য পাচ্ছে না, তো এবং আমরা সেই এটা ইজ বিং রিফ্লেক্টেড যে দর্শকও সেরকম হচ্ছে না ইস্টবেঙ্গলের ম্যাচগুলিতে, কিন্তু মোহনবাগানের ম্যাচগুলিতে কিন্তু মানে বলে না যখন সাকসেস হয় তখন সমর্থনটা পায়। তো তোমার কি মনে হয় যে মোহনবাগান যদি লাগাতার এই সাকসেসটা পায়, হুইচ হ্যাজ বিন দ্য কেস ইন রিসেন্ট পাস্ট, সেখানে ইস্টবেঙ্গল যে সাফল্য পাচ্ছে না, এটা কি মনে হয় যে ডার্বির যে উত্তেজনাটা, বিকজ আই এম আস্কিং ইউ ক্যাটেগরিক্যালি বিকজ তোমরা তিনজনেই কিন্তু অনেক ডার্বি ম্যাচে খেলেছো, সেইটা কি মনে হয় যে কোথাও গিয়ে একটা ভাটা পড়ছে, যে বা একটা অশনি সংকেত, যদি এরকম যদি মোহনবাগান সাফল্য পেতেই থাকে এবং ইস্টবেঙ্গল যদি সাফল্য না পায়, তোমার মতে কি বলে?
প্রথমেতেও আমি একটা কথাই বলবো যে যেটা তুমি বললে এটা ঠিক যে মোহনবাগান সাফল্য পাচ্ছে, এর কারণ আছে অনেক কিছু। কারণ এরা যে পুরনো ম্যাক্সিমাম প্লেয়ার তারা কিন্তু ধরে রেখেছে। একটা টিমের তুমি যত প্লেয়ারদের বেশি দিন ধরে রাখবে সাফল্য তুমি পাবে, কেন তারা পুরোপুরি এখন কিন্তু বুঝে গেছে আমি কিন্তু পুরোটাই মোহনবাগান, এবং তাদের ফিলিংস যে এই ক্লাবের প্রতি, এবং তারা জানে যে একটা সমর্থক সারা দিন কাজ করে আসার পরে যখন সে টাইম পায়, ওইটুকু টাইমের মধ্যে সে যখন মাঠে যায় তার প্রিয় দলকে সাপোর্ট করতে, এবং সাপোর্ট করতে যায় এই কারণেই কেন এখন দেখবে মোহনবাগানের খেলা হলে মাঠ পুরো ভর্তি থাকে, এবং খেলা শেষের পরে তুমি দেখবে এই ভিআইপি যে যখন আর কি খেলা শেষের পরে মানুষ যখন বেরোয় ওখানটায় বেরোনো যায় না, মানে সাফল্য যখন থাকে না তখন দেখবে সবাই টিমের সঙ্গে থাকে, এটা নিয়ম। আর যারা সাপোর্টার হয় তারা কিন্তু কোনো দিন 10 গোলে হেরে গেলেও কিন্তু তারা কোনোদিন ক্লাবকে চেঞ্জ করতে পারে না, তারা সাপোর্টার তো সব সময় সাপোর্টারই থাকবে। 1 গোলে হারলেও ক্লাবের থাকবে, 2 গোলে জিতলেও ক্লাবেরই থাকবে। আর অপোজিট তুমি যদি বলো ইস্টবেঙ্গলের কথা বলো, ইস্টবেঙ্গল দেখো প্লেয়ার সিলেকশানে কিছু কিছু ভুল আছে, এগুলো বুঝতে হবে। আর সবার আগে কিন্তু একটা জিনিস মনে রাখতে হবে, আমি কোন ক্লাবের জার্সি পরে খেলছি, সেই ক্লাবটা কারা কারা খেলে গেছে। দেখুন প্রতিষ্ঠানের ঊর্ধ্বে কেউ না, সেটা অনেক বড় বড় প্লেয়ার আমি খেলেছি বা এলভিটো খেলেছে বা ব্যারেটো খেলেছে, যেই খেলুক না কেন ক্লাবের ঊর্ধ্বে তো আমরা কেউ না, ক্লাব আগে তারপর তো আমরা এটা মনে করি আগে ইস্টবেঙ্গল ক্লাবের আগে মানসিকতা বুঝতে হবে, যেই ক্লাবে খেলতে গেলে সব থেকে ভিতর থেকে আসে, যেটা আমরা বলি আমরা যারা বাঙালি যারা খেলেছি একসঙ্গে অনেক দিন, এটা ভিতর থেকে আসে, এটা ফিল করতে হয় যে মাঠে যখন আমরা যাব তখন কিন্তু মাঠে আমরা এখন ওই 100-200 হয় না, এখন 400 দিতে হয়। কেন কিছু কিছু সমর্থক আছে আপনারা জানেন যে যারা নিজের ছেলেকে ওই চিতায় দিয়ে আসার পরে ওই যেটুকু টাইম পেয়েছে সেইটুকু টাইমের মধ্যে সে মাঠে গেছে। এমন লোক আছে যেরকম ব্যারেটেও করেছে বা এলভিটোকেও করেছে, দেখবেন প্রায় 70-60 বছর বয়স আমার পা ধরে কাঁদছে যে দাদা এই ম্যাচটা আমাকে জিততে হবে। এটা হচ্ছে ফিলিংস, এই ফিলিংসটা যদি না আসে না তাহলে ইস্টবেঙ্গল মোহনবাগান খেলার অর্থ তারা বুঝবে না। এই যে আমরা যখন বাইরে বেরোই জিজ্ঞেস করে আজকে ইস্টবেঙ্গল হারছে বা মোহনবাগান হারছে, প্রশ্ন আমাকে করছে কেন, তারা বোঝে যে বাঙালির যে আবেগ, এই আবেগটা সব সময় থাকবে, এই আবেগের জন্যই তো আমরা সবাই বেঁচে আছি, তাই না?
গ্রেট ওয়ার্ডস নবিতা। And before we shift to our discussion to Sunil Chhetri, আমাদের এটা last opinion on our headline, is this the best ISL team ever? And of course for that I will go to Srinjoy Da. Srinjoy Da প্রাক্তন মোহনবাগান সচিব, উনি মোহনবাগানের সেই সোনালী দিনগুলো সাক্ষী ছিলেন। সৃঞ্জয় দা, তুমি কি ডিবেটে যাবে, ইজ দিস দ্য বেস্ট আইএসএল টিম এভার মোহনবাগান?
প্রথমত এটা যাওয়ার আগে একটা কথা বলি, যেটা নবিদা বলল সেটা খুবই ঠিক, যে আজকে না আমরা যে ক্লাব যখন চালাই, আমরা যখন অ্যাডমিনিস্ট্রেটিভলি কোনো ডিসিশন নিয়ে নিই, আমাদের প্রধান মাথায় থাকে যে এই যে যারা অসংখ্য সদস্য এবং সমর্থক আছে তাদের মুখে যেন হাসি ফোটে। এটাই কিন্তু আমাদেরও একটা ফোর্স যেটা আমাদেরকে টেনে নিয়ে যায়। আজকে একটা ক্লাব চালাবার ক্ষেত্রে, সবার যে কোনো ক্লাবের ক্ষেত্রে অনেক রকম জিনিস আছে, কিন্তু আমাদের মেন উদ্দেশ্য হয় এই যে একটা বলে না যে কি তাগিদটা হচ্ছে যাতে আমি হাসবো তো ঠিক আছে, কিন্তু এই যারা অধিকাংশ অসংখ্য সদস্য সমর্থক আছে তারা যেন হাসে। এবং আজকে আমাদেরও একটা প্রচুর লিন প্যাচ গেছে, আজকে ইস্টবেঙ্গলেরও লিন প্যাচ যাচ্ছে, কিন্তু যখন দেখা যায় যে আজকে ধরুন ইস্টবেঙ্গলের একটা ম্যাচে আজকে যেভাবে ইস্টবেঙ্গলের গ্যালারি ভরে, এতদিনের পারফরমেন্স নেই তা সত্ত্বেও, এটা কিন্তু সত্যি মানে একটা প্রশংসনীয় ব্যাপার। মানে এটা সত্যি, এই আবেগ এর জন্যই কিন্তু মোহনবাগান ইস্টবেঙ্গল চিরকাল বেঁচে থাকবে। এবং এবার এই পয়েন্টে যেটা বলতে চাই, দেখুন আইএসএলে বলতে পারেন এটা মোহনবাগানের সেরা টিম, কিন্তু মোহনবাগানের এর আগে প্রচুর ভালো টিম হয়েছে, এটা মানে এবং ডিফারেন্ট পরিস্থিতিতে। মানে আমাদের যখন 2015-এ আমরা জিতেছি সেই সময় আলাদা পরিস্থিতি ছিল, 2020-21-এর আই লিগ যখন আমরা জিতেছি আমরা সেখানেও কিন্তু 4টে ম্যাচ আগে জিতেছি, কোভিডের জন্য বাকি হয়নি, তাই কিন্তু আমাদের এমন পয়েন্ট হয়েছিল। সো তার আগে আমরা প্রচুর ত্রিমুকুট জিতেছি, মোহনবাগান থেকে এত লেজেন্ডস বেরিয়েছে। সো আমরা কোনোদিনই বলতে পারবো না মোহনবাগানের কোনটা সেরা টিম, বরঞ্চ আমরা একটা সেরা মোহনবাগানের চিরকালে সেরা 11 চুজ করতে পারি কোনো দিন, কিন্তু এইটাই সেরা টিম এটা কিন্তু আমরা কোনো দিনই বলতে পারবো না। এবং আরেকটা কথা, মানে আজকে আমরা সঞ্জয় দা আছে এখানে, এটা বলতে চাই যে সেই 2015 সঞ্জয় দা হচ্ছে এমন একটা লোক যে যেখানে সাফল্য বেশি দিন না পেলে সঞ্জয় দাকে নিয়ে আসবেন, তাহলেই দেখবেন সাফল্য চলে আসে। সেটা 2015-র আই লিগের আগে বলুন বা বাংলা সন্তোষ ট্রফির আগে বলুন, দেখবেন ঠিক সাফল্য এসে গেছে।
টুম্পাইদা, জাস্ট একটা প্রশ্ন আমার তরফ থেকে আছে যে অবশ্যই এই মানুষটা কিন্তু অনেকটাই কৃতিত্ব, যে আজকে যে সঞ্জীব গোয়েঙ্কার সঙ্গে যে মোহনবাগানের যে গাঁটছাড়া রয়েছে, অল ক্রেডিট গোস টু ইউ, কেননা আপনারা কিন্তু এনেছিলেন মিস্টার গোয়েঙ্কাকে এবং তারপরে থিংস টার্নড অফ। কেননা দেখুন যে সমস্যাটা ইস্টবেঙ্গলের হচ্ছে, লাস্ট 6 মরশুম আইএসএল খেলছে, দে হ্যাভ 3 ইনভেস্টার্স, 3টে ইনভেস্টার্স বদলেছে। তো আপনার যেটা আপনি একটা কন্টিনিউটির কথা বললেন যে একটা স্টেবিলিটি, এটা কি ভাবনা থেকে আপনারা মিস্টার গোয়েঙ্কাকে সঙ্গে মোহনবাগানের গাঁটছাড়াটা করেছিলেন?
দেখুন, যখন আইএসএল খেলাটা হচ্ছিল আমরা আইএসএল প্রথমত খেলতে চাইনি, বিকজ আইএসএলের স্ট্রাকচারটা অন্য ছিল। সো তখন আমরা আইএসএল খেলতে চাইনি, কিন্তু যখন আইএসএল দেশের নাম্বার 1 লিগ করলো, সেটা বিটুইন এফএসডিএল অ্যান্ড এআইএফএফ, তখন আমাদের আর কোনো উপায় ছিল না, কারণ মোহনবাগান দেশের প্রথম লিগেই খেলবে, মোহনবাগান কোনোদিন সেকেন্ড লিগ খেলতে পারে না। সো সেইখানে দেখতে গেলে আজকে আইএসএলে হিউজ ইনভেস্টমেন্ট, একটা টিমের ক্ষেত্রে হিউজ ইনভেস্টমেন্ট। সো মোহনবাগানের এই ইনভেস্টমেন্ট দেখুন, আজ আমরা তখন একটা টাই আপ করেছিলাম, তারপরে অনেক রকমের বাধা পেয়েছি, কিন্তু আমরা অলওয়েজ ভেবেছিলাম যে একটা এমন লোকের সাথে টাই আপ করা উচিত যার ফিনান্সিয়াল স্টেবিলিটি আছে, এবং সবথেকে বড় আরেকটা কথা দরকার, যে জেতার খিদে আছে। সঞ্জীব গোয়েঙ্কার জেতার খিদে আছে। সঞ্জীব গোয়েঙ্কার আজকে খেলা 88 মিনিটে সে বুক ধরে বসে থাকে, সে 90 মিনিটের হুইসেল বাজলে তার চোখে জল আসে। এই আবেগটা আছে এবং ওই জেতার খিদেটা আছে। জেতার যদি খিদে থাকে না, দেন ইউ ক্যান গো দ্যাট এক্সট্রা মাইল। সো এটা আমাদের একটা বিশ্বাস ছিল, প্লাস ওনার ফ্যামিলি মোহনবাগান সাপোর্টার ছিলেন। সো যে কলকাতায় থেকে এত বছর ধরে মোহনবাগান ইস্টবেঙ্গলের কালচারটা বোঝে, যে বোঝে যে একটা মোহনবাগান ইস্টবেঙ্গল ডার্বি ম্যাচ যে একটা বুকে ব্যথা হয় যে কোনো মোহনবাগান সাপোর্টারে, সেইটা কিন্তু তাকে বোঝার দরকার। সো এই সবের থেকেই, এবং আমরা অনেক রকমের ক্রিটিসিজম, ইস্টবেঙ্গল সাপোর্টাররা তখন আমাদের অনেক রকমের বিদ্রুপ করেছে, এ করেছে, কিন্তু আমার মনে হয় খেলার মাঠে রেজাল্টই তাদের সঠিক উত্তর দিয়েছে। অনেকে বলেছে বিক্রি করে দিয়েছো, এ করে দিয়েছো, আজকে তাদেরও কিন্তু সেই করতে হবে। এন্ড অফ দ্য ডে ইফ ইউ হ্যাভ টু টাই আপ, আবার আমার আগের প্রশ্ন এলাম যে একটা গাঁট ছাড়া যদি বাধ্য হয়, সেখানে দুপক্ষরই বিশ্বাস দরকার, দুপক্ষরই একটা আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং দরকার। না তো কোনো না কোনো সময় একটা মিসআন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং হবে, সেই থেকে ফ্রিকশন হবে, সেটার এফেক্ট কিন্তু টিমেরই পারফরমেন্সে পড়বে।
Absolutely. I think a lot of people has criticized about this move, but in the last 2 years, what Mohun Bagan has shown, all the Indian club, I think they have set one of the biggest example, on as professionalism, on or off the pitch for all the other clubs. And with that note, we'll wrap up this Mohun Bagan part, as we'll shift our discussion to Sunil Chhetri, and for that I will go to Jose Veroto for his opinion. Last night, lot of football enthusiasts in India has celebrated his return. At the same time, many people has criticized this move as well, because they are concerned about the future of Indian football. So your opinion on this move, is this going to help this Indian team, or it's going to deter the future plan as well?
I can't answer that because I think no one knows about it. I think Sunil, so far he's been proving himself. I think we have seen Sunil the last few years, the way he's bouncing back, getting back. It's really Sunil. Sometimes you say, it's, maybe it's done for Sunil, then he gets back and becomes a kind of the top scorer, and it's up to him, to decide about that. I feel, I don't know if it was his decision, or it was from the coach side also, maybe from national team, that wants Sunil into that group. Definitely, he's a player, an important player to be in the group, especially in the team building process. If I was a coach over there, I say, I want you over here because you need to be there. You play a very important role in the, the build-up, the process of this team. And we know that Sunil still, if you look into the season, he scored important goals. He helped Bangalore to be within the best 6 this year. He played a very important role, very crucial role. But about the future, if he's going, that's always going to have different thinkings and different minds, different opinions. I feel that he still can bring in something, I think if the players are there, of course, having new strikers over there and look, Sunil is there, but you can look indifferently also. You can say, Sunil, what I can do, what steps I must give, what I can improve, how I can, be more cool in front of the goal, how I can get him more those opportunities. I think you also can get something from him, and I do believe, we all know Sunil, definitely he's going to help in the youngsters, and with his advice, and I think with his presence over there, I think brings a lot for the team anyway.
আমি সুনীল নিয়ে সঞ্জয় দা আলভিটো দুজনকেই এই প্রশ্নটা রাখব। সঞ্জয় দা, আপনার কি মনে হয় না যে সুনীল অবসর, দেয়ার ইজ নো ডিনাইং দ্য ফ্যাক্ট দ্যাট সুনীল ছেত্রী ইজ পারহ্যাপস দ্য গ্রেটেস্ট ইন্ডিয়ান ফুটবলার। he's a role model for youth players. But having said that, আপনার কি মনে হয় না এটা কি পেছনে ফিরে তাকানো না to fall back on Sunil Chhetri? Mahendra Singh Dhoni যখন অবসর নিয়েছিল, he did not give it a second thought to come back, but he's still playing the IPL and winning matches for Chennai Super Kings. তো সেখানে কিন্তু সুনীল ছেত্রী, ইয়েস, তার মানে একটু আপনি নতুন প্লেয়ারদের সেই একটা জায়গা নিয়ে নিচ্ছেন, তো আপনার কি মতামত?
দেখুন, সুনীল এই বছর হি স্কোর 10 গোলস অলরেডি, হি স্কোর 10 গোলস, এবং আমরা সবাই জানি সে রিটায়ার করে গেছিলো, এবং গতকাল রাত্রিরে আমরা খবর পাই, এবং মানে কিভাবে সে ইনফ্লুয়েসড হয়েছে বা কে তাকে রিকোয়েস্ট করেছে আই ডোন্ট নো। ভারতীয় ফুটবল হয়তো সুনীল খেলবে, সুনীলের গোলের খিদে আছে, হয়তো হি মে স্কোর আ গোল, বাট আগে থেকে বলা যায় না। বাট ভারতীয় ফুটবলের দৈন্যদশাটাকে একদম প্রকার আঙুল দিয়ে দেখিয়ে দিল যে আমরা 10 বছরে ফুটবলটা এক পাও এগোয়নি। আজকে রহিম আলী বলে একটা স্ট্রাইকার, তাকে খেলানো হচ্ছে সাইড ব্যাক বা উইং হাফে। Manbir Singh, yes, he's playing very good in wing half, but he's basically a striker. But these foreign coaches, Souvik Chakraborty, he was played as a wing back. But look at Souvik Chakraborty for the last 2 years. He's playing in his own position and he's outstanding. He has already got 2 years more contract in East Bengal club. So these foreign coaches are playing with these players because these key positions, the striker and forward position belong to all the foreign players. So how we expect যে ভারতীয় ফুটবল কোথা থেকে আসবে? আজকে রহিম আলীকে আমরা দেখছি, গতকাল উড়িষ্যা ম্যাচও দেখছি, সে সাইড ব্যাক খেলছে বা উইং হাফ খেলছে, বাট হি ইজ এ প্লেয়ার, হি গট অপরচুনিটি ইন দ্য ন্যাশনাল ক্যাম্প, বাট হি ইজ নট প্লেড অ্যাজ ইজ ইন হিজ ইউজুয়াল পজিশন। আজকে চাং থেকে খেলানো হচ্ছে স্ট্রাইকারে। সো আনসার, যদি প্রপার আনসার খুঁজতে হয়, আপনি ফরেন কোচেসদের এনে তাদের থেকে জিজ্ঞেস করুন। আমার কাছে হলো ভারতীয় ফুটবলের দৈন্যদশাটাকে একদম নেকেট করে দিয়েছে। আমরা ফুটবলের সাথে যুক্ত, আমরা গর্বিত, কিন্তু এই সব জিনিসগুলো মানে ভাবা যায় না যে আমরা কোন জায়গায় যাচ্ছি। আজকে জাপান, দে আর প্রিপেয়ারিং ফর বিং দ্য ওয়ার্ল্ড চ্যাম্পিয়ন ইন 2060 সালে তারা চ্যাম্পিয়ন হবে বলে লক্ষ্য রাখছে, এবং আমাদের একটা শুনলাম 2047-এর একটা প্ল্যান প্রোগ্রাম করেছে। তো এই যদি তার নমুনা হয় তাহলে কিছু বলার নেই।
Alvi, your thoughts?
I think I would completely agree with what Sanjay Da has said. In fact, having Sunil Chhetri in the squad, whether it's in the national team or in the Bengaluru squad, it's always an asset, because whenever he plays in the Bengaluru FC team, it's like Bengaluru FC plays with 5 foreign players. The 4 are included as foreign players and he plays as one of the foreign players. But then having said so, he took a call because he felt he no longer can don the India colors, and he felt that it's time to say goodbye to the national team and focus more on the club football. But it's very sad to hear today that, for some people might be a great moment that to know that Sunil Chhetri is back in the squad. But asking me as a footballer, I would say that's something which you rightly mentioned. Mahendra Singh Dhoni still believes that he can be one of the best finishers in the world. And there are a lot of times when he retired, there were Indian keepers who were struggling. And he could have still made a comeback in the national team. But he felt, no, you need to give time for the players, especially the keepers, and slowly by slowly they'll get the form and they can be stable in that position. And I think that's the reason why Rishabh Pant, Rahul or Samson, they are there in the team. So Sunil should have, be a bit patient. And when he retired from the national team, let's not forget one thing, that there was still one match left for the national team, which they were supposed to play in Qatar. And he retired in Kolkata. So if he really wanted to retire, he should have retired after the last match playing against Qatar. So I think that when he has not done, he understood that the best way to retire is in Kolkata. A lot of mileage, coverage from the media, but making a comeback, I don't think that's a good decision by him. And also the fact is, I think blocked one striker's position. As you said about Rahim Ali playing in different positions, David, who's been scoring a lot of goals for East Bengal, coming in as a substitute, There are strikers, but then I think we are the ones who don't give them the opportunities. And also Manalo needs to focus more on the national team rather than, you know, having a multiple role with the club, with the country. That's really going to be a problem, because if he was only focusing with the national team, he would have had a chance to talk to the coaches from the different ISL clubs to give certain players a chance in their respective positions, whether it's the strikers, midfielders. But then it's sad that we don't have a replacement for Sunil Chhetri. And also making a comeback against Maldives and Bangladesh, I think we still need to think a lot about Indian football.
So it's two sides of this moment. Alvi says that he has blocked a position for another striker, while Barreto has said that, you know, he could share his lesson with the other youngsters. We have got both sides of this moment, but at the same time আমরা বাঙালিরা এই কথা একটা কথাই বলতে পারি যে এটা একটা পাগলামো বলে। বস এটা কি পাগলামো হচ্ছে? 40 বছর বয়সে ইন্ডিয়ার লিডার লেজেন্ড তিনি আবার ফেরত এসেছেন। জুন মাসেই যুব ভারতে তিনি তার শেষ ম্যাচ খেলার সময় তিনি বলে গিয়েছিলেন যে আই এম নাও ফিলিং টায়ার্ড, আমার মনে হয় আর আমি দেশের হয়ে সেরাটা দিতে পারছি না, সেই কারণে তিনি রিটায়ার্ড করেন। বাট এখন তিনি মনে করেন যে তিনি আবার সেরা ফর্মে এসছেন এখন, আর তিনি মনে করেন যে তার এখনও কিছু বাকি রয়েছে দেশের জন্য দেওয়ার। আর এরকমই একটা পাগলামোর মুহূর্ত আমি শেয়ার করার জন্য আমি দাবি জানাবো নবিদাকে, কারণ তুমি আই থিঙ্ক ইউ হ্যাভ বিন অলসো রুমমেট অফ সুনীল ছেত্রী অ্যাজ ওয়েল। তো এরকম একটা কোনো পাগলামোর মুহূর্ত সুনীল ছেত্রী?
না, আমি ইস্ট বেঙ্গলেও একসঙ্গে খেলেছি, মোহনবাগানেও একসঙ্গে ছিলাম, অনেক দিন আমরা ইন্ডিয়ান টিমে ছিলাম, রুম পার্টনার ছিলাম। একটা জিনিস বুঝতে হবে যে কখন ধরবো আর কখন ছাড়বো, এটা কিন্তু নিজের উপর ডিপেন্ড করে। এটা অনেক বড় ব্যাপার যে আমি দেশের হয়ে অনেক ম্যাচ খেলেছি, ও খুব ভালো প্লেয়ার, এটা আমরা প্রত্যেকেই জানি। এখনও স্টিল এখনও আজকে নিয়ে যদি আমরা বিচার করি 12টা গোল করেছে সুনীল। দেখুন, গোল করলেই যে সব খেলতে হবে এটা ঠিক নয়, কিন্তু আমরা এটা বুঝতে হবে যে আমি ইয়াং জেনারেশনের জন্য কী করলাম। ইয়াং জেনারেশন যারা আসছে তাদেরকে সব সময় জায়গা ছেড়ে দিতে হবে, এটাই কিন্তু যারা বড় লেভেলের প্লেয়ার হয় এটাই কিন্তু হওয়া উচিত, এটা আমি মনে করি। কিন্তু দেখুন, সুনীল হয়তো এই দুটো ম্যাচ হয়তো খুব ভালো খেলবে, কিন্তু একটা জিনিস মনে রাখবেন, আমরা যদি এখনও সুনীলকে নিয়ে ভাবি তাহলে কিন্তু ভারতীয় ফুটবল এগোচ্ছে না, ভারতীয় ফুটবল পিছোচ্ছে। ভালো থাকবেন সকলে।
Okay, so we have one last question, as we promised that we also talk about, you know, Bengal football. And for that I would like to go to Sanjay Da as well, because তিনি কমাস আগে আমাদের সকলকে, আমাদের বাঙালিদেরকে গর্বিত করেছে বাংলাকে সন্তোষ জয়ী করিয়ে। সো যেটা আমাদের এই নজরে পড়ছে শেষ কয়েক বছর, সেটা হচ্ছে বাঙালি মধ্যবিত্তরা কিন্তু ফুটবল খেলতে যাচ্ছেন। আমরা যদি দেখি গরিব বাড়ি থেকে বেশিরভাগ ফুটবলাররা আসছে, বাট তারা যাদেরকে ইন্সপিরেশন হিসেবে দেখছে সেটা হচ্ছে খেপের মাঠের ফুটবলারকে। খেপের মাঠের ফুটবলারকে তারা দেখছে গাড়ি চড়তে, তাদেরকে অ্যাজ আ ইন্সপিরেশন দেখছে, নট দীপেন্দু বিশ্বাস, শুভাশিস বোস। এরকম করলে তো আমরা তাহলে আর ভবিষ্যতে দীপেন্দু বিশ্বাস, শুভাশিস বোসকে আর খুঁজে পাবো না। সঞ্জয় দা,
দেখো তুমি যেটা বললে যে এই খেপের মাঠ, এই খেপের মাঠের পরিচালনগুলো কে করছে? পরিচালনাগুলো কেউ করছে, কোনো না কোনো যে জায়গায় খেলা হচ্ছে সেই জায়গাকার কেউ একজন মাথা বা কোনো নেতা বা কেউ করছে। তো তারা কতটা বাংলার ফুটবলকে ভালোবাসে সেটা ভাবতে হবে। ঠিক আছে, তারা নিজেদের নাম কামানোর জন্য বা নিজেদের এলাকায় একটু পপুলার হওয়ার জন্য তারা একটা টুর্নামেন্ট করছে, এবং বিদেশির সাথে কিছু লোকাল প্লেয়ারদের খেলিয়ে কিছু টাকার প্রলোভন দেখিয়ে। কারণ যারা গরিব তারা তো খেলবেই, তারা তো খেলতে চাইবে যে কিছু অন্তত তারা টাকাটা আর্ন করতে পারে, সেটা খেপের মাঠ হোক বা অন্য খাত থেকে, তার অল্টারনেটিভ কিছু নেই। এবং আমার এইখানে বাংলা যে চ্যাম্পিয়ন হয়েছিল, এইখানে এরম একটা পরিস্থিতির মুখে আমাকে পড়তে হয়েছিল। ডিউরিং দ্য কোর্স অফ দ্য ট্রায়াল পিরিয়ড 4টে প্লেয়ার এরম বাইরে খেলেছিল, আমার নজরে আসে, এবং আমি সেই সময় তাদেরকে বাদ দিয়ে আমরা আলটিমেটলি ট্রাভেল করি এবং তারপরে আমরা সাফল্য পাই। এবং সেইটা হয়তো কিছুটা হয়তো একটা ইঙ্গিত দিতে পারে বা বার্তা দিতে পারে যে না, আমাদের ফোকাস করা উচিত বাংলার ফুটবলটা যাতে আমরা ভালো খেলতে পারি এবং যাতে আমরা স্বপ্ন দেখতে পারি বড় ক্লাব বা ভারত ফুটবল খেলার জন্য। তো সুতরাং হয়তো এটা হতে পারে একটা, কিন্তু এর জন্য কিন্তু আমাদের ধারাবাহিকভাবে সাফল্যটা পেতে হবে।
লাস্ট ফিউ ওয়ার্ডস ফ্রম সঞ্জয় দা।
সঞ্জয় দা, দেখুন বাংলা ফুটবলারে না, মানে সবসময় যে গরিব ফুটবলাররাই খেপ খেলে না। ধরুন আজকে একটা গোলকিপার, আমি নাম করছি না, সে বড় টিম খেলেছে, সে আজকে কালকে একটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট খেলা, সে আজকে চলে যাচ্ছে খেপ খেলা। এটা একটা অভ্যেসের মধ্যে দাঁড়িয়ে গেছে। যারা বড় খেলবে তাদেরও এটা নিজেদের মধ্যে আসতে হবে যে আমি একটা অন্য লেভেলে যেতে চাই। এই খিদেটাও কিন্তু আমার মনে হয় খুব দরকার। আরেকটা হচ্ছে যেটা বাংলা ফুটবলের পরিকাঠামো দেখো, এখন অনেকেই বাড়ি থেকে আজকে তুমি খেলাধুলোয় আসতে দেয় না বা ফুটবল খেলতে দেয় না, কারণ সে কি করবে, চাকরি করবে কিনা, পড়াশোনা করবে কিনা। আজকে এই যে সঞ্জয় দার যে বাংলা টিম যে জিতেছে, সেই টিমটা আজকে ফেরত আসার পরে আজকে পশ্চিমবঙ্গ সরকার মমতা ব্যানার্জি সঙ্গে সঙ্গে তাদের চাকরি দিয়েছে এবং সঙ্গে সঙ্গে তাদের অ্যাপয়েন্টমেন্ট লেটারও দিয়ে দিয়েছে। সো এটা আমি মনে করি যদি এই গভর্নমেন্টকে অনুরোধ করা যায়, যদি এই পলিসিটা ডিফারেন্ট স্পোর্টস ফিল্ডে ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গল গভর্নমেন্ট একটা স্পোর্টস পলিসি হিসেবে ঢোকায়, তাহলে আমি মনে করি যে অনেকে হয়তো এই ফুটবলারও অনেকে আসবে খেলতে। যেমন আমি জানি এই টিমে সেই গোলকিপার তার চাকরির দরকার, সে যদি আজকে বাংলা টিমে যেত সে আজকে চাকরি পেলে, জিতেছে চাকরি পেত, কিন্তু সে টুর্নামেন্টটা প্র্যাকটিসে না গিয়ে বাংলা সন্তোষ ট্রফির প্র্যাকটিসে না গিয়ে খেলেছে এবং তাই জন্য তাকে টিমে নেওয়া হয়নি। সো এই তাগিদটাও তাদের আসা উচিত এবং এই যদি এই চাকরির পলিসিটা নেওয়া হয় ফর বাডিং স্পোর্টসম্যান, তাহলে আমি মনে করব ফুটবলার বা অন্য ডিফারেন্ট যে স্পোর্টসে বেশি পয়সা নেই, টাকা নেই, সেখানেও তারা একটা ইনসেন্টিভ পাবে এই খেলায় আসার জন্য।
একদমই তাই। And on that note, we'll end this session and we would also request Boryada to take over.
You know, Bangla session, Mohun Bagan session, celebratory session, Bangali kauke dakte hobe stage celebrate korte. I am sure he'll either be a Mohun Bagan fan or an East Bengal fan. Ladies and gentlemen, celebrating the amazing run of Mohun Bagan Super Giant. Is it the best team ever? The jury will be out. What will not be out is the celebration will continue. Mohun Bagan has won the league shield, and my point is very simple. We've got a strong Mohun Bagan. We need a strong East Bengal, because only if you have a strong Mohun Bagan, a strong East Bengal and a strong Mohammedan Sporting can ISL and Indian football go forward. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Srinjoy Bosch, Alvito Di Cunha, Jose Ramirez Barreto, Syed Rahim Nabi, and of course Sanjay Sen, and my two friends, moderators Devashish Sen and Rahul Giri. May I please invite Orko Prabhu Rai from HSBC, the head of marketing and my very close friend who has supported this conclave wholeheartedly, to please come up on stage and felicitate my panelists. And by the way, we are felicitating them with a very special coin curated by HSBC. Orko Prabhu Rai celebrating Sanjay Sen, Syed Rahim Nabi. Yes. Akshadat. Jose Ramirez Barreto. Alvito Di Cunha and Srinjoy Bosch. And then all of you, Rahul, Devashish, and the rest of the panel with Orko, to kindly step forward for a final photo op. সবাই একটু সামনে আসুন। Barreto, if you could kindly step forward for a no. Orko, you stand in the middle. Yeah, there. Yeah. For a final photo op, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks a lot. Thank you. To all our team members, please can I ask all of you to get everybody inside, because the next panel is a high point of this conclave. The next panel is one of the high points of this conclave, and I would ask all our volunteers to get everyone in. A lot of people are having their momos and kulfis and water and whatever. You will not get to hear a panel like this, so kindly come in. Ladies and gentlemen, the last panel of today and the plenary panel of Trailblazers 3, Tata Steel Trailblazers 3, celebrating Indian hockey. and I will have the pleasure of holding this panel together. Put your hands together for someone who has led India with distinction for the last several years, one of the greatest captains and leaders and drag flickers that Indian hockey has seen. Captain Fantastic, double Olympic medalist. Put your hands together for Harmanpreet Singh. In Tokyo, कहीं भी बीच में बैठ जाइए, आप बीच में आओ सर. In Tokyo, 6 seconds left on the clock. 6 seconds left on the clock, and India had conceded a penalty corner. All of us had our hearts in our mouths, and he saved it like he saved many a one in his 20-year-long career behind the goalpost. And he kept talking to the goalpost all his life. The greatest. Put your hands together for double Olympic medalist PR Srijesh. +400 caps for India. 400, not one. 400 caps for India. The day he became the president, he had told me, I will revive the Hockey India League. One of the greatest defenders the world has seen. Current boss of Hockey India. Put your hands together for Dilip Tirki. India had just won the bronze medal in Paris, and we were all debating, we will be missing PR Srijesh. Honestly, I'm telling you, not making up a story. We were all thinking we will be missing PR Srijesh. What's the way forward? And this gentleman was standing right outside the hockey stadium. Trisha was with me, and I walked up to him and I said, Sir, Srijesh ne to retire kar liya, abhi kya hoga? And he looks at me and he said, Chaliye, aapko breaking news de dete hain. He will coach the junior Indian team and Harman will be captain till 28. Dilip and I have spoken. Put your hands together for Secretary General of Hockey India, Bholanath Singh. We did not make the Paris Olympic Games as far as our women's team is concerned. Each one of us remember that heartbreak in Jharkhand. Each one of us. We lost to Japan 1-0. And I kept talking to Savita Punia till 1 a.m. in the morning, convincing her not to retire. And thereafter, to beat Netherlands, the world's #1 team just last week, it is a 360-degree turnaround. The man who made it possible and changed the course of this Indian team. Put your hands together for head coach Harendra Singh. We've just witnessed a very successful Hockey India League, and his team are the champions. My last panelist, he's not yet here. He's just going to be here. I'll start, but he'll join us in the next 4-5 minutes. The head of the Shrachi Group, owners of the Shrachi Rar Tigers Hockey India League team, Rahul Todi. So I'll start, and Rahul can come and join us. Sir, just microphone share. Bhola ji ko ek de dijiyega. I think I need one more. No, we'll get one more. Yeah. No one will share. এখানে একটা দিয়ে দে আমাকে একটা দিয়ে রাখ এখানটা রেখে দিন রাহুল আসলে নিয়ে নেবে Dilip, I'll start with you as the president. Back-to-back Olympic medals, success of the Hockey India League. आपने इतना साल इतना डिस्टिंक्शन के साथ खेला है अभी बैक-to-back medals और ये successful Hockey India League. Is the sport back to where it should be? Are you happy as a president कि भारतीय हॉकी को दोबारा आपने उस मुकाम पर पहुंचा दिया है?
थैंक यू सो मच बोरिया जी. पहले तो सबसे पहले आपको बहुत बहुत मुबारक. बहुत अच्छा आपका स्पोर्ट्स कॉन्क्लेव प्रोग्राम चल रहा है. मैं काफ़ी खुश हूँ इंडियन हॉकी के परफॉर्मेंस से और जिस दिशा में हम यहाँ पर भोला जी हैं हमारी टीम जिस दिशा में अभी इस वक्त काम कर रही है मेरे ख्याल से बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से हम काम कर रहे हैं और मॉडर्न हॉकी को जहाँ जहाँ जिस जिस एरियाज़ में डेवलप करने की ज़रूरत है उस एरियाज़ को हम फोकस कर रहे हैं और उसी दिशा में हम काम कर रहे हैं। जैसे आपने कहा कि बहुत सालों के बाद 41 सालों के बाद जैसे ब्रॉन्ज मेडल हमने जीता, श्रीजेश हरमन दोनों का काफ़ी इम्पोर्टेंट रोल रहा है और भी खिलाड़ी अमित रोहित दास मनप्रीत कैप्टन उस टीम के था और बैक टू बैक जैसे पेरिस ओलंपिक्स में भी आपने देखा किस तरीके से दोनों का परफॉर्मेंस शानदार रहा, श्रीजेश का इंग्लैंड के खिलाफ और हमारे हरमन का टूर्नामेंट में गोल दागना। सो जिस हिसाब से टीम का परफॉर्मेंस इस वक्त है और सबसे बड़ी बात हम सब इस बात का खुश हैं कि हमारे जितने भी खिलाड़ी हैं इस वक्त हमें कॉन्फिडेंस दे दिए कि मॉडर्न हॉकी में वर्ल्ड के किसी टीम को हम बीट कर सकते हैं किसी वक्त भी और हम ओलंपिक्स में मेडल जीत के ला सकते हैं, जो ये कॉन्फिडेंस हमें दिए हैं। सो इसलिए मैं जितने भी हमारे खिलाड़ी हरमन की टीम श्रीजेश हमारे जितने भी खिलाड़ी को बहुत बहुत मुबारक देता हूँ। इसके साथ साथ जैसे मैं एक लाइन में मैं बोल देता हूँ ताकि मुझे
बोल दीजिए, आपको जो बोलना है। बहुत मैंने ये प्लेनरी पैनल समय रख के रखा है, आप बोलिए।
सो हमने ध्यान में ये रखा गया है मॉडर्न हॉकी में जैसे फ्यूचर अब इस वक्त हमारे पास जो लेवल के खिलाड़ी हमें मालूम है उनके लिए जो जो ज़रूरत है हमें मालूम है, उस हिसाब से हम प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं। लेकिन हमें फ्यूचर हॉकी के लिए फ्यूचर यंगस्टर के लिए जो इस वक्त उनको जो ज़रूरत है, जो ग्रासरूट प्रोग्राम हम कहते हैं या सब जूनियर लेवल में जो चीज़ें उनके ज़रूरत है, बेस्ट फैसिलिटीज़ बेस्ट कोचिंग प्रोग्राम में किस तरीके से आएंगे उस पे ऊपर हम ध्यान दे रहे हैं। और वुमेंस हॉकी को यहाँ पे हरिंदर जी हैं और इस वक्त बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं टीम इंडिया के लिए वुमेंस के लिए। हाल ही में अभी एशियन चैम्पियन ट्रॉफी चैम्पियन हुई टीम और आपने देखा प्रो लीग में वुमेंस टीम का परफॉर्मेंस और हॉलैंड के साथ आपने देखे होंगे जो कि वर्ल्ड चैम्पियन ओलंपिक चैम्पियन हॉलैंड को सेकंड मैच में ड्रॉ करके फिर ट्राई शूटआउट में जीतना। सविता और हमारी दीपिका सबका परफॉर्मेंस एक्सलेंट रहा है। सो रियली इस वक्त मैं काफ़ी खुश हूँ।
वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स। भोला जी, मैं अगर आपसे पूछूं, आप वो पेरिस वो दिन आपको भी याद है, शाम को मैं आपके जाकर पूछा श्रीजेश छोड़ रहा है इतना साल, वी विल मिस हिम, क्या सोच रहे हो? आप तुरंत बता दिए कि नहीं, मैंने बात कर लिया है, ही विल बी इन्वॉल्व विद द जूनियर सिस्टम एज कोच, हम उसे छोड़ने नहीं देंगे, वी विल कीप हिम इन्वॉल्व। फैंटेस्टिक कॉल। हरमन को आपने बोला 28 तक वो कैप्टन रहेंगे, LA तक, बिकॉज लीडरशिप लगेगा, ही कैन होल्ड द टीम टुगेदर। फैंटेस्टिक कॉल। गेटिंग एन इंडियन कोच बैक, हरिंद्र को वापस लाना फॉर द वुमेन्स टीम। थोड़ा सा विजन के बारे में बताइए भोला जी, बिकॉज हम फेडरेशंस को गाली बहुत देते हैं, अच्छा कुछ बोलते नहीं हैं हम लोग मीडिया, बिकॉज हमारे देश में एंड देखिए फेडरेशन बहुत खराब फेडरेशन भी है, बट जो फेडरेशन अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, हॉकी अगर हम देखें एक स्ट्रीमलाइंड हो चुका है, प्रॉपर काम चल रहा है। आपके विजन के बारे में बताइए।
नहीं, मेरा अगर पर्सनली विजन नहीं, हम लोग की पूरी टीम की विजन मैं बता रहा हूँ। दिलीप जी कैप्टन मेरा बैठे हुए हैं, कोच बैठे हुए वुमेन का। मैं बस अपने बच्चों को, या हरमन हमारे कैप्टन हैं या कोच हैं इनके, ये हैं, अगर आप हमसे पूछे मैं 3 टारगेट देता हूँ ओनली: वर्ल्ड कप, एशियन गेम, ओलंपिक गेम। बाकी मुझे किसी टूर्नामेंट से कोई मतलब नहीं है। और मैं इन लोग जो चीज़ हमसे एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं, जो इनके ज़ुबान से निकलता है और जो इनकी ज़रूरत होती है, मैं सेकेंडों देरी नहीं करता हूँ। मिनट और ये सब तो छोड़ दीजिए, सेकेंड का अगर कोई हिस्सा है तो बैठे हुए हैं सभी, आप पूछ सकते हैं, वो भी मैं देर नहीं करता हूँ। टक दे, बस इनके जुबान से निकला और मैं करता हूँ। एक भाई की तरह, एक दोस्त की तरह, जो हमारे लड़कियां हैं, एक बिटिया की तरह, एक बहन की तरह इन लोग के साथ समय जो इन लोग से मिलता हूँ वैसे रहता हूँ। जब रिजल्ट की बारी आती है, जब मैच की बारी आती है, तो बस एक ही होता है कि बेटा मुझे मेडल चाहिए, जो तुम मांगा वो मैं दिया, अब मुझे वहाँ मेडल चाहिए। एक बहुत ये जो मेरे दिल में जो है वो मैं बताना चाहता हूँ कि वो दिन था जब बराबर में ओलंपिक में गोल्ड मेडल जीतता था। खिलाड़ी तो मेरे हिंदुस्तान के ही थे, कोई विदेश के खिलाड़ी तो नहीं लाते थे वो मेडल, तो आज क्यों नहीं आएगा? अब मैं आपको विश्वास दिलाता हूँ आपके इस मंच से कि आने वाला समय हिंदुस्तान का वही दिन आने वाला है हॉकी में कि जब हर एक बार मैं हिंदुस्तान के लिए गोल्ड मेडल जीत कर लाऊंगा। हमारे बच्चे में वो काबिलियत है, हमारे बच्चे में वो कैपेसिटी है, हमारे खिलाड़ियों में वो ताकत है। और इसीलिए आप बोले हरमन को कैप्टन क्यों बना, मैं आपको उस दिन भी बताया था कि मैं एक पहलवान हूँ, मैं रेसलर हूँ, मैं इंडिया टीम का कोच भी रहा हूँ। सबसे बड़ी चीज़ है कि मैं एक खिलाड़ी भी रहा हूँ, एक कोच भी रहा हूँ, इंडिया टीम का कोच रहा हूँ, चीफ कोच रहा हूँ, सुशील योगेश जैसे लड़के का मैं कोच रहा हूँ। खिलाड़ी का दर्द क्या होता है वो भी मैं जानता हूँ, एक कोच का दर्द क्या होता है वो भी मैं जानता हूँ, और एक खेल प्रशासक उन लोग के लिए क्या कर सकता है। आज मैं खेल प्रशासक हूँ तो मुझे मालूम है कि मुझे खिलाड़ियों के लिए क्या करना है, कोच के लिए क्या करना है, टीम के लिए क्या करना है।
ब्रिलियंट, एब्सोल्युटली ब्रिलियंट। चलो भाई हरमन, इसके बाद बोलना नहीं कि हम प्रेशर डाल रहे हैं, तुम्हारा सेक्रेटरी जनरल ने बोल दिया है कि ओलंपिक्स में नेक्स्ट टाइम गोल्ड मेडल तो लाना है। अब श्री भी नहीं रहेंगे आपके साथ, तो श्री आपके पास बैठ के वो गोल पोस्ट के साथ बात नहीं करेंगे, तो पूरा प्रेशर आप ही पे है। बट जोक्स अपार्ट, टोक्यो में वो 8 मिनट 1-3 to 4-3, once again in Paris 10 goals, pro league, the way you have performed as leader and captain, one of the greatest players to have played for India, Harmanpreet Singh. मुझे ये बताओ, I've asked you this question, but I want this audience to know, getting that tricolor to go up, getting that national anthem to play, आपके लिए हम लोग बहुत बार वो राष्ट्रगान सुने हैं, आप थोड़ा सा उसके बारे में बताइए, what does it mean to you?
गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन। जी मैंने पहले भी आपसे बात की थी और मैंने उस समय भी यही बोला था कि जो हमारा एक माइंडसेट है, जो मेंटालिटी ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर हम बैक टू बैक ब्रॉन्ज मेडल जीते हैं एंड नेक्स्ट ओलंपिक में हम इजी जाएंगे। हमारा टारगेट हमेशा यही रहेगा, कोई भी टीम जा रही है, किसी भी टूर्नामेंट में जा रही है, हमारा हमेशा टारगेट रहता है कि गोल्ड मेडल जीते हम। और अगर हम जितनी बार मर्जी जीते हैं, बार जब भी नेक्स्ट टाइम जाएंगे तो वही टारगेट वो सेम रहेगा, तो डेफिनेटली। और एंड सेकंड जो आपका क्वेश्चन था कि ट्राई कलर, ऑफ कोर्स मैं बहुत लकी फील करता हूँ कि मेरे को ये अपॉर्चुनिटी मिली है कि नेशनल टीम को रिप्रेजेंट करना एंड यू नो अच्छा परफॉर्म करना, देश के लिए मेडल जीतना, वो बहुत स्पेशल है मेरे लिए। और जब भी नेशनल फ्लैग ऊपर जाता है और उस समय पूरा देश हमारे साथ जुड़ा होता है, हमें कभी ऐसा नहीं फील हुआ कि हमारी टीम खड़ी है, ऐसा लगता है कि पूरा देश हमारे साथ खड़ा है और हम गर्व से कह रहे हैं कि हाँ हमने मेडल जीता है देश के लिए। सो बहुत बेस्ट फीलिंग है, वो बयान करना बहुत टफ है, बट आई थिंक काफ़ी इमोशनल मोमेंट्स रहती हैं जो ऐसी होती हैं हमारी लाइफ में।
श्री भाई, वो पेरिस वाला प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस अभी भी याद है, आप लोग दोनों बगल में बैठे हुए हैं वो मेडल जीतने के बाद। अगेन 2 questions, playing with Harman, creating these bonds, speaking to the goalpost, sitting on top of the goalpost, giving what you have, in the last 20 years. Look back at your career and tell me, your journey as an India player, forget the coach, but tell me about Tokyo, tell me about Paris, and your role, the way you led the team, in the sense, not everybody needs to be captain, but as leader, PR Srijesh, one of the greatest. Tell me. Seriously.
Namaste, good evening. My journey was like a dream. Literally, it's a dream, because from Kerala, picking up hockey stick, getting into this level, we should say it's a dream. And people always wanted to remember the good days, like Tokyo or Paris, but I think London or Rio prepared us for this, because the lessons what we learned from there was the push, or was the energy to prepare for these 2 medals. Because in 2012 I mean, even Viren Bhai is there, that there was a black day for Indian hockey. No, the performance was not that great. But the lessons what we learned from there, it's like, that's, you can't count it, because everything, I mean, in every match was the purpose of going for Olympic Games, and in Tokyo, taking all the teams, I mean, and giving them respect, I mean, giving you 100% for each matches. So small things prepared us to prepare for Tokyo and Paris. And I think Tokyo was better comparatively with Paris. Why? Because there were no crowd. So one part of the pressure was taken away, and you played good, you prepared, you done, you got their medal. That gave you some sort of feeling that, okay, we are capable. That gave us confidence to start to believe in ourselves. Then, now the turn of Paris, you just count the numbers. Almost 10 to 11 players from the previous Olympic Games who been there, who fought well, who saw the quarterfinals pressure, who saw the semi-finals pressure, and again the bronze medal matches. It was easy. I think for us, the Tokyo was much better than Paris, because Paris, after medals, we all felt somewhere it's like, nah, we deserve more, because we deserved a better medal than that one. So that, I mean, definitely we are happy to get a medal, but still that 1% लालच होता ना कि अरे यार नहीं ये नहीं हम लोग को सिल्वर या गोल्ड डिजर्व करता था इस बार. तो as a person, I think the journey was not great, but जो ending था इससे बढ़िया तो मैं सोच भी नहीं सकता हूँ.
Unbelievable. And I will ask both Harman and Srijesh about this in my next round to them. To beat Great Britain after a red card and playing with one man less for 43 minutes, in my 25, 30, 35 years of watching hockey, I have never seen something like this. In modern hockey, it is not possible, and they were able to do that. It is that tough, and against a Great Britain side which is that accomplished. Harendra, I'll ask you, not qualifying for the Paris Games, and thereafter to turn around and come back and do what you've done, and Netherlands and beating Netherlands and winning the Asian Champions Trophy, what did you do to transform the team? The players aren't different, but you've done something to them.
Jai Hind, everyone. Yeah, it's a great question, and I think wherever I go, it's the same question I get, but I reveal what I did with that. Not qualifying for the Olympics, that was energy for me, because I am going to start from zero. There is no legacy. So whatever I achieve as a coach and as a team, that was always an upper swing for any team. And that's one of the things I learned. Dilip was I think, one of the member in 2008. So I already gone through that as a coach, though I was not part of the 2008 where India didn't qualify for Beijing. And the Viren, the Great Britain, Viren also is here. As a coach and a player, you can feel the pinch, and I know that. The day I got a call in USA, those days I was the coach of the USA, my big brother Bholanaji called me, you have to come back. And I didn't take a second. I said, sure bhaiya, for the country, I need it. Yes, I started the journey with the individual, because I know if I get the individual in the one pod, we can make the great team. India is the great skillful players we have, either it's a men's and women's, in any sports. But can the only skill win any competition? For me, the big no. There's other 23 elements, like in a day, you require 23, and skill is one of that. So what is that? Your science, your technology, your mental, your culture, in your environment, your preparation, your recovery, your nutrition, your well-being, your family, your media, your responsibility. So many things is there. So I put anything, and I spoke each and every one, and I say, forget about, start the journey from zero. First time you are coming in the camp, our target is 2028 Olympics, where we must mark our legacy and history, where Dada Dhyan Chand has won the gold medal for us. So that's the time the women's team should transform the Indian hockey from zero to hero, and 28 is our target. I'm not asking. I think that's give the lot of comfortable zone, and I think the mindset, the girls has changed. And the one thing I changed, of course, the fitness, and I give credit to my entire team. It's not the Harendra. I think my staff, the Hockey India, Sai, the government, I think everyone is not living unturned turn where the Indian women should be not par with the men's.
You know, on the eve of International Women's Day, tomorrow is International Women's Day, there could not be better words. There could not be better words coming from Harendra Singh. My friend Rahul Todi also has joined me. Rahul and I keep talking sport almost every second day. You know, when the Hockey India League thing was first announced, the tender was announced, and I remember Rahul telling me, microphone done, you know, I remember Rahul telling me, what do you think? Should we get into hockey? And obviously the answer was yes. And from there on to go and win the Hockey India League title for the inaugural season. He's got interest in hockey, in parasport, and he's invested in many other sports. Talk about it, that achievement. What did it mean to you? The inaugural edition, no one can take it away from you. Inaugural edition, champions of the Hockey India League.
Thank you. And actually they are the champions. You know, the players, we did a job, we selected a good team based on feedback. I think the only thing I did personally was have a decent auction where Srijish and me, we fought a lot, but that was it. After that, it was the commitment of the team, the skills, and I think, winning is always great. And similarly, like Srijish, I think when the Hockey India League started, and I shared this with you personally, that, you know, for me also, nobody expected a team from Bengal to do much. I think a lot of eyes popped up that first a team from Bengal was there in the first edition itself. I think that itself was a bit of a challenge to take that decision because it's not a greatly popular sport in Bengal. We all know that. Although historically the birth of hockey was in Bengal. The first hockey association was formed in Bengal. And recently we were in the event of Bengal hockey as well, where we spoke about it. But for whatever reasons, over the last few years, it moved to North India and other parts of the country. And this is where Hockey India, I would say, Dilip sir, Bhola sir have done tremendous work, because now besides the players, Narendra Saab, I've had an experience to watch them, what goes behind the scene to ensure that the players are getting what they are, the infrastructure, starting from infrastructure, logistics, organizing the FHI Pro League so that they have enough playing time. Because that is one thing which we've seen, we talk about Indian football all the time, where our players don't get enough opportunity or enough game time. But you know what we saw in Hockey India, that there is enough game time for all the players. And look, Hockey India League came back after a hiatus of a few years. A lot has been learned from the past. I think Hockey India was very mindful of every aspect of it, and there were a lot of learnings as well.
Always will happen.
Always will happen. So it was a great feeling. I think what I really hope, and what even Hockey India and Bengal Hockey hope, is that this will kind of bring back a lot of youngsters, both boys and girls, to come and take up the sport of hockey. Because now hockey provides equal opportunity like cricket, like kabaddi, like football. And I can say one thing, that Hockey India doing a tremendous job. Starting from the Hockey India League is one example. But if everybody sees the FIH Pro League that is going on, a lot goes on in organizing those as well.
I'll ask Dilip Bhai, because Dilip Bhai has to leave in the next 10 minutes because he's got a flight. So I'll ask him a question and then I'll go back to Bhola ji and Harman and Srijesh. What next for you? You said after you became president, Olympic medal, आपने वो box tick कर दिया है, आपने बोला था Hockey India League revival, वो भी आपने achieve किया है. What's next for Dilip Tirki? Promise करिए. Headline दीजिए मुझे, कुछ तो दीजिए.
प्रॉमिस के हिसाब से इंडियन टीम परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं इस वक्त. इसमें कोई शक नहीं है, कोई डाउट नहीं है. और अभी HL को और मजबूत करना है. HL को जैसे राहुल जी ने कहा, और हमारा एक एम है, भोला जी सेक्रेटरी हमारे हैं, हम हमेशा बात करते हैं कि HL को वर्ल्ड के बेस्ट लीग बनाना है. जहाँ जहाँ इस वक्त भी हैं, इस वक्त भी वर्ल्ड के बेस्ट लीग एचएल है, और जिस हिसाब से एचएल में हर एक टीम ने खेली, मेरे ख्याल से परफॉर्मेंस वाइज बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस रहा, मेंस और वुमेंस। और हम इसमें देखिए, और इम्पोर्टेंट बात ये रहा कि वुमेंस हॉकी इंडिया लीग पहली बार हुआ, जो कि वो भी वर्ल्ड के बेस्ट लीग में मैं मानता हूँ।
जो आपने किया एक साथ किया, जो इंडियन क्रिकेट भी नहीं कर पाया है, ये तो ऑन रिकॉर्ड है। यू स्टार्टेड टुगेदर व्हिच इज नॉट इवन डन इन क्रिकेट।
हमारा मकसद है, हॉकी इंडिया का मकसद है दोनों लीग को वर्ल्ड का बेस्ट लीग बनाना है, और आप लोगों के सपोर्ट से होगा। आप जितने भी हमारे फ्रेंचाइजी हैं काफ़ी सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, काफ़ी इंटरेस्ट दिखा रहे हैं, और इंटरेस्टिंग बात यह भी है कि और भी फ्रेंचाइजी जुड़ना चाह रहे हैं हॉकी के साथ, एक काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है। सो और भी आना चाह रहे हैं। सो मुझे लग रहा है कि हॉकी के फ्यूचर हॉकी के लिए हॉकी इंडिया लीग बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। हमने देखा है 2013 से 2017 तक जो हॉकी इंडिया लीग चला, उसमें कई सारे यंगस्टर उभर के आए, उसमें से हरमन, उसमें मनप्रीत, उसमें मनदीप, बहुत सारे प्लेयर, अमित रोहिदास, आज के जो स्टार हैं, आज के जो लेजेंड हैं, उसी लीग से उभर के आए हैं। और इस लीग में भी हमने देखे कई सारे यंगस्टर बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस कर रहे हैं। सो जाहिर सी बात है कि वर्ल्ड के बेस्ट खिलाड़ी जो हैं, हर एक टीम में 8 मेंबर रह रहे हैं, और उनके साथ रहना, उनके साथ प्रैक्टिस करना, तो उससे उनका कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल बढ़ रहा है। तो ये बेनिफिट है। और जैसे मैंने कहा कि ग्रासरूट प्रोग्राम हॉकी इंडिया बहुत डीपली इसको ले रहा है, क्योंकि हमारा फ्यूचर हॉकी हमारे सब जूनियर बच्चे हैं। तो इसलिए हॉकी इंडिया ने डिसाइड किया है कि अंडर 17, अंडर 19 इंडियन टीम बनाएंगे। हम विश्वास करते हैं, हम जब तक रेस्पेक्ट नहीं जाके, जब तक हम खिलाड़ी को इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं देंगे और उनका क्रेज उसमें उतना नहीं बढ़ेगा। तो इसको ध्यान में रखते हुए और हम लोग डिसाइड किए हैं कि अंडर 17, अंडर 19 हमारे पास अंडर 21 है, उसका रेगुलर ईयरली उसका नेशनल प्रोग्राम चलता रहता है। हमारे पास सीनियर टीम का है ही है। अंडर 17, अंडर 19 का कैसे होल ईयर उनका प्रोग्राम चले, जो सिलेक्टेड बच्चों का सिलेक्ट होके आएंगे और हमारे नेशनल प्रोग्राम होल ईयर चलेगा।
वंडरफुल।
सो इस चीज़ों में अब हम ध्यान दे रहे हैं।
Before you go, last question to you, and I know you got to leave. You said 5:30, it's 5:29, so I've got a minute. I'll give you a couple of minutes, and I know you've got to go to the airport. You were one of the best players that we had. 415 caps ऐसे नहीं होता है. Now you are the president of Hockey India. कौन सा ज़्यादा difficult है, इंडिया के लिए खेलना या गवर्न करना?
देखिए, जब खेल रहा था,
एक सेकंड, आप पॉलिटिशियन भी हो, पॉलिटिशियन का आंसर मत देना।
जब खेल रहा था काफ़ी अच्छा हॉकी खेलने की कोशिश किया, और काफ़ी अच्छे टूर्नामेंट, अच्छे मैच में हमें अच्छे परफॉर्मेंस किए हैं, और जीते भी हैं, हारे भी हैं। रिग्रेट इस बात का रहा है कि हम ओलंपिक्स, वर्ल्ड कप में मेडल जीत नहीं पाए। एशियन लेवल में हमने बहुत अच्छा, यहाँ वीरेंद्र सिंह भी हैं, हमारे बहुत अच्छा मिडफील्डर थे, मेरे ख्याल से वो भी सहमत होंगे कि कोच के हिसाब से हरिंदर भी कई साल तक थे, और श्रीजेश भी के साथ भी हम लोग गुजारे हैं। और मैं श्रीजेश का मैं एक बताता हूँ, जब PHL स्टार्ट हुआ, फर्स्ट PHL, और आपको ये भी बात मैं बता देता हूँ, इंडियन स्पोर्ट्स में मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ, इंडियन स्पोर्ट्स में सबसे पहला लीग है हॉकी, PHL प्रीमियम हॉकी लीग। उसके बाद फॉलो किया है क्रिकेट और डिफरेंट में। तो PHL में मैं हैदराबाद के कैप्टन था, और श्रीजेश उस टाइम कभी यंग था, और हमारे प्लेयरों को वार्म अप करा रहा था। उस टाइम हमारे आलम थे पाकिस्तान के, वो हमारे टीम के लिए खेल रहे थे। सो श्रीजेश नए आया हुआ था और काफ़ी यंग था, लेकिन काफ़ी एनर्जेटिक के साथ, काफ़ी इंटरेस्ट के साथ प्रैक्टिस करता था। सो मेरे ख्याल से आज उनका जो सिंसियरिटी आज यहाँ तक पहुँचाया है। सो इसलिए दूसरी बात, हॉकी जब तक खेला मैंने एंजॉय किया, लेकिन हाँ, हॉकी इंडिया प्रेसिडेंट होने के बाद मुझे मालूम पड़ा कि रियली इसमें काफ़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी खिलाड़ियों के लिए, और इसमें उसी दिशा में हम काम कर रहे हैं। डिफ़िकल्ट है, काफ़ी डिफ़िकल्ट। खेलना इजी है, एक फेडरेशन को रन करना काफ़ी मुश्किल है, अभी मुझे समझ में आ रहा है।
ढाई मिनट आपने बोल लिया था पॉलिटिशियन होने के नाते, गोल 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 गोल, फाइनली आपने आंसर दिया।
क्योंकि अभी इस वक्त मैं खुश हूँ काफ़ी, क्योंकि अभी 41 के बाद टीम इंडिया 4-5 साल में बेस्ट परफॉर्मेंस जो किया है, क्योंकि बैक टू बैक ओलंपिक्स मेडल की बात करते हैं हम, उसके बाद 2023 एशियन गेम्स में पाकिस्तान को 10-2 से बीट किए, और फाइनल में मेरे ख्याल से जापान को 5-1 से बीट करना और इजीली एशियन गेम्स जीतना। ओलंपिक्स में हमारे पूल में सबसे टॉप टीम था ऑस्ट्रेलिया, ओलंपिक्स के मेडलिस्ट टीम, बेल्जियम मेडलिस्ट टीम, ऑस्ट्रेलिया के 54 साल के बाद बीट करना, और फाइनल पहुंचना इंग्लैंड के साथ मेरे ख्याल 43 मिनट्स, और बीच में 2-3 मिनट्स के लिए भी एक ग्रीन कार्ड से भी प्लेयर निकल गए थे। मेरे ख्याल 9 प्लेयरों के साथ खेल के मैच जीतना, जो कि काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल, और सेमीफाइनल में यहाँ तक कि हमें जर्मनी के साथ जब हम खेलने में मेरे ख्याल से हम लोग उस दिन हमारा 13 या 14 शॉट पर मिला था, हो नहीं पाया, सो उनसे बेटर हम लोग हॉकी खेले थे, यानी कि हम गोल्ड मेडल जीत सकते थे, ये भी टीम ने कॉन्फिडेंस दिलाया था। सो प्रेसिडेंट होने के नाते हम काफ़ी कुछ देखा है, मेडल जो जीत के लाए उसमें काफ़ी हम खुश हैं, लेकिन जब प्लेयर के हिसाब से जब मेडल जीत के नहीं पाए थे, इस बात का हमें रिग्रेट है।
चलिए दिलीप भाई, ऑन दिस नोट जाने से पहले दोबारा प्रेसिडेंट इलेक्शन जीत जाइए, और लॉस एंजलिस में जो भोला साहब ने कहा वो गोल्ड मेडल भी दिला दीजिए। ऑन दैट नोट,
थैंक यू सो मच।
Ladies and gentlemen, he's got to leave. Put your hands together for Dilip Tirki. Shormishta Guptu, may I please request you to give Dilip bhai his gift outside, so that he's got to leave. So he's got a flight to catch, and I can't hold him because the flight is at 7:30. The rest of us will continue. Bhola साहब, ये जो दिलीप भाई अभी कह रहे थे, आपने बहुत क्लोजली इन दोनों के साथ, तीनों के साथ काम किया है, हमें कुछ तो बताइए जो हम देख नहीं पाते हैं, मीडिया में सब कुछ आता नहीं है। हरमन, श्रीजेश, एक स्टोरी तो बताइए इनके बारे में, थोड़ा सा जो बैक स्टेज में करता है, शरारत करता है, बदमाशी करते हैं, मजाक करते हैं। श्री के पास तो 50 तो स्टोरी होगा, मैं उनसे भी पूछूंगा, बट पहले आप तो बताइए आपका कैप्टन और कोच, बेस्ट गोलकीपर एंड कोच के बारे में। भोला साहब
नहीं,
बोल रहे हैं बहुत अच्छा लड़का है।
पहले तो इसको कोच बनाए थे तो कुछ देख के बनाए थे, कि जब आप पहले देखते होंगे इंडिया के जब 1-2 मिनट बचता था उसी समय गोल खाता था।
करेक्ट।
और उसके बाद सिरजेश को बाहर कर दिया जाता था, मनो गोल की बाहर, इनके जगह पर एक खिलाड़ी आ जाते थे, तो सिरजेश को मैं देखता था फिर कोचिंग करते हुए, फिर एक कोच के साथ ये भी कोचिंग करते थे।
अच्छा।
तो वो मेरे नज़र में था कि ये कोच अच्छे हो सकते हैं, आखिरी समय में ये अच्छा कोचिंग देते हैं।
सर आप तो, दिलीप भाई को इलेक्शन पॉलिटिशियन आप भी उतना ही अच्छा बन सकते हो, मैं बोल रहा हूँ आपको,
एकदम फैक्ट सच्चाई बता रहा हूँ। मैं पहलवान हूँ, मुझे पहलवान कैप्टन चाहिए था, जो दिल से मजबूत हो, मन से मजबूत हो, हर एक चीज से मजबूत हो, ग्राउंड में सामने वाला को सामना उसी मजबूती से करे।
क्या आंसर है बॉस, अनबिलीवेबल।
तो मुझे वैसा कैप्टन चाहिए था, मैं इसको कैप्टन बनाया। मेरे लाइफ का, मैं बहुत सच्चाई से आपको एक चीज अपने, मेरे लाइफ का, मैं 84 से खेला 96 तक, 84 से 96 तक मैं खिलाड़ी रहा। 97-98 में मैं NIS किया, उसके बाद कोच हो गया। 2001 में मैं झारखंड कुश्ती संघ का महासचिव बन गया, और 2002 में मैं इंडिया टीम का कोच बन गया, चीफ कोच, फिर ज्वाइंट सेक्रेटरी बन गया रेसलिंग का। आप समझिए सभी चीज़ में बोल रहा हूँ। हॉकी झारखंड में आ गए, हॉकी इंडिया के महासचिव बन के आपके सामने आज बैठे हुए हैं। मगर जितनी निराशा हमको जब मेरी ओलंपिक में वुमेन टीम क्वालिफाई नहीं की थी ना, उतना निराशा मैं कभी अपने ज़िंदगी में नहीं हुआ था। मेरे लिए सबसे निराशा का दिन, मैं आपको सच में बताता हूँ, मैं 1 माह ढंग से खाना नहीं खाया था, कि आखिर इतना करने के बाद, इतना सारे फैसिलिटी देने के बाद, चाइना से ओलंपिक क्वालिफायर को छीन के इंडिया में लाना और उसको रांची में जहाँ फुल क्राउड के बीच में जहाँ ये है वहाँ पर मैं लेके आया कि नहीं हमारे बच्ची लोग मेरी बिटिया लोग अच्छा खेलेगा ये करेगा। बच्चे लोग अच्छे खेले थे, ये नहीं कहूँगा कि नहीं अच्छे खेले थे, बस यही कहता हूँ कि वो दिन मेरा नहीं था, वो समय मेरा नहीं था, उस दिन मेरे बच्चों का दिन नहीं था।
स्पोर्ट में होता है, स्पोर्ट में भोला साहब कोई प्रेडिक्ट नहीं कर सकता।
उसके बाद ही मेरे को नजर आया था इन महानुभाव पर, ये अमेरिका को बढ़ा रहे थे इंडिया को छोड़ के। मैं शुद्ध हिंदी बोलता हूँ, इसको अदर नहीं। ये इंडिया को छोड़ के ये अमेरिका को चले थे तरक्की कराने, तो हम बोले कि भैया इंडिया आ जाओ, यहीं की तरक्की करो। तो
आपने उनको पैसा ज्यादा दिया ना? आपने उनको पैसा ज्यादा दिया ना?
देखिए आप लोग के आशीर्वाद से हॉकी इंडिया में पैसा कोई माने नहीं रखता है, जो जितना मांग दे देते हैं।
अरे वाह,
वेरी। आपके ये जितना मांगे दे दिए, ये भी बगल में है जितना मांगे दे दिए। वो ये सब चीजें कोई ये नहीं है, वो आप लोग के आशीर्वाद से, आप लोग की दुआ से, ऊपर वाले की ये से उतना भगवान हॉकी इंडिया में पैसा ऑटोमेटिक दे देता है कि नहीं ये आदमी काम करने वाला है, ये है, इनको दो।
हरिंदर भाई, बिफोर आई गो, यस, बिफोर आई गो,
भाई मैं एक चीज़ तो मैं बोलता हूँ, और वो हो सकता है कि आपके लिए नहीं, पूरे हिंदुस्तान के लिए, फॉरेन कोच को छोड़कर इंडियन कोच की सैलरी का हॉकी इंडिया ने ब्रेक किया है रिकॉर्ड, मेरे को सैलरी देकर।
वेरी प्लीज्ड।
इन एनी स्पोर्ट्स एक्सेप्ट क्रिकेट को छोड़कर, मैं आज आपको बता रहा हूँ।
Very pleased, and you deserve it. Why you?
No, I don't know.
Everybody.
Indian coach deserve it.
Exactly, Indian coaches deserve it. This whole idea that our coaches will be paid less is a disgusting idea.
And credit goes to him. I know how he fought in Ministry, Sai, and Hockey India.
Fantastic. Yes, Rahul. Before I go to the
just like to add, जो sir ने where we are hinting. And even if you look at the HIL strategy and inspired by this, I think most of the franchisees spent more on the Indian players than on the foreign players. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, I can't claim the full credit alone.
Highest paid 78 lakhs, Harmanpreet Singh.
And I mean, I paid a lot of money for Abhishek.
And then 72 to
Abhishek and
yes.
Jugraj.
And Jugraj, yes.
So if you look at it compared to the foreign players, it was not. And the same thing, I mean, we worked with Indian coaches and foreign coaches, and at least in the franchisees, the experience was equal. So, you know, there is no fascination, at least going forward.
This is a great point. Shri bhai, so many people. Yeah, come on. Okay, got it. You know, you talking to the goalpost has been one of the most fascinating things that I have covered. Is this because you would get so angry and abuse the others that, you know, you decided, भाई मेरे players को ना गाली दे के goalpost को गाली दे दूं? क्यों करते थे आप इतना बात goalpost के साथ? हरमन वो सच बताएंगे कि नहीं, आप बता देना.
See, the time changes, you know. There were a group when I started, Raghu, Rupinder, these people, Birandar Lakra. So they are used to with my language. Okay, so
your language.
Yes, my sweet language. तो जब नहीं seriously जब कई matches में ऐसे होता है रघु के बोलते मच्छा गाली दो. Mean then only he get pumped up. अरे गाली दो. So I mean, then I used to be like really aggressive goalkeeper. But later on, what happened when I become the senior one, the top ones? I mean, जैसे अभी हारमन है. So then all the kids, I mean, you know, Vivek Sagar, this Dilpreet, they were all joined me recently. Then I started to treat them the same way I used to treat Raghu. Then वो चीज़ मैं समझने में थोड़ा टाइम लग गया कि कोच ने क्या बोले, Sri, you know, for them you are like a superstar. When you shout at them, that affect them really badly. They are not taking it like in a more positive way. Then automatically that what I thought actually, what is the alternative option? Okay, बेचारा goalpost है, कुछ बोलता नहीं है जवाब, तो उसी को बोल दो.
and बोलता नहीं है, but फिर उसके ऊपर चढ़ के आप क्या कर रहे थे उतना तो बताइए. What is going on? So you did that in Tokyo, you did that in Paris. No, the goalpost story.
See, I mean, Tokyo was, जैसे आपको पता है कि टोक्यो में जो मेडल वाला मैच था अर्ली मॉर्निंग होता है, I mean, अभी तो हमारे पास इतना टाइम था कि ग्राउंड में सेलिब्रेट करने के लिए. देन एवरीवन वी ऑल सेलिब्रेटेड. देन लास्ट में मैंने सोचा चलो यार शायद मेरा लास्ट ओलंपिक हो सकता है, क्योंकि एक एज ग्रुप के बाद सब यही पूछने लग जाता है ना यार कब छोड़ रहे हो आप. तो मैंने सोचा चलो लास्ट है तो एक अच्छा फोटो खींच के चले जाता हूँ. तो माइंड में वही था, इसलिए तो ऊपर चढ़ के बैठा था.
ये टोक्यो में?
ये टोक्यो में.
हम लोग भी फोटो खींचे थे, आपको याद है?
तो फिर वहाँ पे हो गया. देन आई तो 2021 हो गया. 22 में एशियन गेम्स और कॉमनवेल्थ है, और वो भी खेल के 22 में छोड़ देता हूँ. तो चाइना वाला तो छोड़ा नहीं मुझे, क्योंकि वो लोगों ने एशियन गेम्स को पोस्टपोन किया. तो 22 में मैंने
हो गया
कॉमनवेल्थ खेला, 23 में एशियन गेम्स खेला. फिर सोचा चले रहे 8 महीने और, तो नेक्स्ट ओलंपिक्स आ गया. Then I'm done. Okay, when I announced the retirement, then I thought, okay, I'm done. We all celebrated. This fellow carried me. That is like one of the best thing. Then when we were celebrating, then I thought, okay, I just ended up. Then German came and said, भाई आप नहीं बढ़ रहे के ऊपर. I said, okay, let's go. Then it's ended up.
वो भी हम लोगों के लिए एक fantastic photo moment कर दिया आपने. But Harman, honestly, as captain, how good was PR Srijesh?
नहीं, अच्छे इंसान के लिए कम बोलना चाहिए बेटर है. बिल्कुल ऐसा नहीं कि आई थिंक थ्रू आउट द जर्नी जब से भी मैंने टीम को ज्वाइन किया है तब से भाई को देखते आ रहे हैं और काफ़ी कुछ सीखा हमने एक्सपीरियंस वाइज, अच्छे वर्ड्स सब कुछ. सो आई थिंक जब ये गोल पोस्ट में रहते हैं तो एक बिलीव होता है, एक ट्रस्ट रहता है इन पे कि अगर हमसे गलती हो रही है, अगर हम 10 प्लेयर आगे गलती कर रहे हैं तो एक बंदा है जो हमें सेव करेगा. और वो उन्होंने प्रूव भी किया है बड़े टूर्नामेंट्स में. ओलंपिक्स की बात करें, इतना बड़ा प्लेटफॉर्म हो, इतना प्रेशर रहता है वहाँ पे, और वहाँ पे इतना अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस करना आई थिंक बहुत बड़ी बात है. और हम बहुत लकी हैं कि हमने भाई के साथ ग्राउंड शेयर किया है. और ऑफ कोर्स आई थिंक वन ऑफ द बेस्ट गोलकीपर इन द वर्ल्ड.
थोड़ा सा उठा लीजिए, थोड़ा सा क्लोज लीजिए.
हो गया अब तो.
नहीं, the next question is also for you, in fact for both of you. भोला साहब ने ऑलरेडी इस मैच के बारे में जिक्र तो कर दिया है, वो इंग्लैंड वाला मैच. इज दैट द हार्डेस्ट मैच यू हैव प्लेड? क्योंकि मॉडर्न हॉकी में कोई 9 खिलाड़ी के साथ 11 खिलाड़ी के खिलाफ खेल नहीं सकता है. 43 मिनट्स 10 खिलाड़ी के साथ अगेंस्ट अ टीम एज गुड एज ग्रेट ब्रिटेन. वो मैच दोनों मिलकर निकाल देना बाकी 8-10 लोगों के साथ. क्रेग को भी मैंने पूछा था, भोला साहब कहते हैं इज दैट द मोस्ट डिफिकल्ट मैच श्री हैज प्लेड और हरमन यू हैव प्लेड?
बिल्कुल जी, क्योंकि करंट हॉकी जितना फास्ट हो चुका है और उसमें एक प्लेयर के साथ खेलना वेरी डिफ़िकल्ट सर. कि हम वो एक सरप्राइजिंगली एक कार्ड था वो, और उसके लिए हम रेडी भी नहीं थे. बट डेफिनेटली हर एक टूर्नामेंट, हर एक मैचेस में हमने जो एक प्रैक्टिस रहती है, जो प्लान रहता है वो हमेशा रहता है टीम के पास, और उसका जो क्रेडिट है कोच को जाता है. एंड आई थिंक एक बिलीव था, एक जुनून था जीतने का, और जो हर प्लेयर ने अपनी इंडिविजुअली एज ए टीम हमने जो एफर्ट किया है वो वहाँ पे देखा भी है. और आई थिंक उसके पीछे सब चीज़ें आपको याद आती हैं कि जब आप ट्रेनिंग कर रहे थे, जब आप एक ये ड्रीम देख रहे थे तो आपने कितना हार्डवर्क किया है. वो 1 स्टेप जो पुश करना डेली, और वो हर एक टफ मोमेंट जो आपने देखी है ट्रेनिंग में, प्रीवियस मैचेस में, वो चीज़ आपको रिमाइंड कराती है कि आज का दिन अगर हम एक और पुश कर देंगे तो हमारी लाइफ चेंज हो सकती है और हम मेडल के नज़दीक जा सकते हैं. तो वो डेफिनेटली उस समय बहुत सारी चीज़ें दिमाग में चलती हैं. बट सबसे ज़्यादा मेन इम्पॉर्टेंट जो चीज़ थी वो एक बिलीव था कि एज ए टीम हमने ग्रो किया है, हमने अच्छे अच्छे मैचेस खेले हैं, अच्छे अच्छे मैचेस हमने जीते भी हैं. और अगर आज एक प्लेयर के कम के साथ भी हमें जीतना पड़ेगा तो जीतेंगे. तो उस समय ये बात थी कि चाहे आपको आपका सर आगे करना पड़े, हम ये लिटरली बातें हुई हैं कि सर आगे करना पड़े, आपका जो स्टिक है ग्राउंड में रहना चाहिए, मेक श्योर कि डी में बॉल ना आए, आपकी बॉडी पे लगती है तो चलेगा. ये सारे वर्ड्स थे जो हमने उस समय हम एक दूसरे को बोल रहे थे. तो वो आई थिंक वो बहुत स्पेशल है मेरे लिए.
अनबिलीवेबल लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, अनबिलीवेबल. श्री, सेम क्वेश्चन, दैट मैच प्लीज.
देख, मुझे कभी कभी अभी ऐसा लगता है कि उस दिन हम लोग 11 प्लेयर से खेले तो शायद हार जाता था. I mean, literally आप लोगों को पता नहीं, क्योंकि उसके पहले when we played the pro league match in England, we lost both the matches against them. So England were literally in a hyper stand, like okay, they are going to kill us. I mean, even now recently after during the HIL, there were a lot of England players were there. They were like literally they were confident. Okay, we are going to meet India, and what is next? So then the things changed when we got a red card. I mean, definitely, as Harman mentioned, we were not ready for that. But the thing is that we always train for that yellow card or green card. So we knew that what system we are going to play when one man is less. And for us, it was just like, okay, just kill that time. I mean, even when I go and watch that highlights in YouTube, the last seconds, then Hardik, how he celebrated like this, that's the one thing put pressure on me. Seriously, that was one of the toughest penalty shootout I have ever faced. Not because it's the Olympics or quarterfinals, it's because of the trust what these people are kept on me. क्योंकि जितना भी प्लेयर्स है वो लोग जब लास्ट 60 मिनट्स खत्म हो गए वो लोग ने इतना भरोसा रखे कि अरे भाई है अभी आई मीन इधर हारने वाला बात नहीं यहाँ पे वो भरोसा तोड़ने वाला बात हो गया सो दैट इज मोर रिस्पॉन्सिबल दैन मैच हारने से देन anyways salute to these people always आपको पता है कि जब when Harman score it goes to Harman or the goal scorer but when it comes to shootout I mean media always give credit to the goalkeepers but I should say this though for people starting from Harman till Raju they didn't disappoint they just scored so I concede 2 goals automatically they score then that gives you more confidence you are focusing okay now it's your duty to just save 1 ball because their guys are on fire and luckily we got it and we made it.
You know, thank God they made it because Indian hockey is one sport which can actually galvanize the nation. Hockey is that sport which will bring a smile to everybody's face. You might win 10 other medals. A hockey medal is always special and it will always be special. Thank God for Indian sport that they managed what they did. Closing comments. Rahul, I'll start with you. Hockey India League, the fact that Indian youngsters are playing with the world's best like we do in the IPL, the revival, and the way the revival has happened should put Indian hockey 10 steps forward going ahead.
Oh, definitely. And I think from the very beginning, right from when HIL started, besides the commercialization, besides platform, besides making it a global league, one of the fundamentals which at least Bhola ji and Dilip ji shared with me and a lot of us is that this will also give you your next Olympic players. You know, once such leagues, and I didn't know that, you know, you made your debut in PHL. So, you know, so exactly. So, so there it goes to show that whatever they believed in. And I think all of us will be doing that, especially in Bengal. And I think Sujitda just walked in. We recently have a stadium and a training ground, 2 turfs in Calcutta. So, you know, with Hockey Bengal, with support of Hockey India, we are very keen to start hockey academies so that more and more youngsters in Bengal can take it up. And the other good thing is that the government today is supporting hockey players. I know a lot of them get government jobs. There's a preference in it. So there is a career path. And like any other sport which is growing and maturing, the other aspects also come in, like a coach, Legends League. So a career path is also there for hockey, which you can see in cricket and other sports.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant answer. So हरिंदर भाई, हम लोग एक लार्जर सवाल पूछता हूँ. हमारे देश में देखो अभी भी हम आइडियल देश तो है नहीं. मेन विमेन में डिस्क्रिमिनेशन है. अगर आप भारतवर्ष देख लो है. क्या मैं हॉकी का एग्जाम्पल ले सकता हूं कि यहाँ पे ये डिस्क्रिमिनेशन खत्म हो चुका है? इक्वल पे, इक्वल ट्रीटमेंट, इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटी, क्या ये सही है? बोल सकता हूं मैं?
एक्सीलेंट क्वेश्चन बोरिया भाई. दिलीप भाई यहाँ पे हाफ आंसर दे के गए. उसका जवाब जैसे भोला भाई ने कहा, 28 साल मेरे को इंडियन हॉकी को कोचिंग करते हुए हो गया और मैं ये गारंटी से कह सकता हूँ आपके ऑडियंस को, पूरे देश को, कि इस समय मैं एज ए कोच इंडियन हॉकी की तरफ से एंड हॉकी इंडिया की तरफ से गोल्डन पीरियड में हूँ एंड टीम गोल्डन पीरियड में है. उसकी 2-3 मैं आपको एग्जांपल देता हूँ. मेरे को कहीं पे भी हॉकी इंडिया का इंस्ट्रक्शन है भैया का कि जब सिलेक्शन हो इससे कोच एंड चेयरमैन ऑफ सिलेक्शन कमेटी, बाकी किसी का फ़ोन नहीं जाना चाहिए. 1 साल हो गया, एक फ़ोन किसी का नहीं आया और ना कोई मेरे से पूछता है. And that's I think the privilege I have. Facility wise, दोनों टीमें, और मैं आज दोनों मेरे शागिर्द हैं, ये लोग अब कंप्लेन करते हैं कि हॉकी इंडिया लड़कियों की तरफ ज़्यादा देखती है. और सेकंड मैं आपको बता दूं, इस देश में जो डिस्क्रिमिनेशन की बात होती है वो हमारी बेटियों को उठना पड़ेगा करने के लिए। और मैं आपको गारंटी देता हूं एलए में जो लेगेसी लिखी जाएगी वो नींव पड़ गई थी अप्रैल 6 को 2024 में, और 4 साल बाद वो सब कुछ आपको लगेगा। लेकिन आज हॉकी इंडिया की तरफ से मैं आपको कह सकता हूँ 0 टॉलरेंस है बैलेंस में। दोनों एक ही तराजू पर बैठी हैं और लड़कियों को ज़्यादा मिल रहा है। इनफैक्ट मैं और आज ही मेरे से कह रहे थे आपका बजट ज़्यादा है लड़कों से तो ये हाल है।
Bora sahab, was this a conscious plan? Last words, I'll give it to both of them, 30 seconds, but ask same question. Men, women, equal treatment. Conscious था, plan करके to get the women's team up. थोड़ा सा बताएं your vision for the women's team.
नहीं, ऐसा ये नहीं, मैं दोनों को बराबर मानता हूँ। और मेरा ये था कि मैं जितने लड़के लोग को करता हूँ उतना अपनी बेटियों को भी करूँ और उतना ही सारा चीज़ फैसिलिटी दूँ, वही सारा चीज़ जो दो इन लोग का। यही नहीं, मैं अपने मेरे जो जूनियर टीम है जिनके कोच सिरजेश हैं, जो मेरे जूनियर बिटिया लोग हैं, मैं उसी कैटेगरी में जो सीनियर का है वो उन लोग को जूनियर को भी मैं वहीं पर ला के खड़ा किया हूँ। और मुझे ये कोई बताने में ये नहीं है कि आज हरमन है, उधर सलीमा है। दोनों का जो भी आदेश हो, जो भी आदेश, मैं उसको ये बोलता हूँ कि बेटा क्या है बता, कोई ये नहीं।
Fantastic.
और बस यही है कि अगला टारगेट दे दिया हूँ। 50 साल पहले वर्ल्ड कप हम जीते थे
बेल्जियम।
50 साल पहले हम वर्ल्ड कप जीते थे। मैं बोला हूँ ले आ बार कौन बड़ी चीज
1975, that team of 1975 against the Holland team.
टारगेट वही
and
है,
then 2020.
हिंदुस्तान का आशीर्वाद रहा तो वर्ल्ड कप इंडिया में आएगा। अगला जो है गोल्ड मेडल इंडिया को आएगा। लड़कियों में आपको मैं इस मन से विश्वास दिलाना चाहता हूं, कलर चाहे कुछ भी हो, 2028 ओलंपिक में हमारे बिटिया मेडल लेके आ रही है।
Brilliant. Aslam Sher Khan's team in 1975 and now 2025, ladies and gentlemen. I will close this session with 2 special rounds of felicitations. 2 special rounds, and to do the first round, may I please invite Aparna on stage representing Titan. We have created one piece, one single piece for our Lifetime Achievement Award, and the hand of the watch is a special hockey stick which will be presented by Aparna to PR Srijesh. And
sorry, I just want to say one word. So, I just wanted to say just few words for distinguished guests here and for Boria for moderating such a wonderful session. I speak here not as the marketing head of Titan, but also as a fan of Indian hockey, and for all the people who stand here who have brought, Indian hockey to the place where it's resurrected Indian hockey. And I'm so proud as an Indian. My heart swells with pride to see the achievements these people have, done. And I want to make a special mention to Harmanpreet Bhai here. I think every single goal of yours, I have cheered the loudest. And I pray for the day you will beat Sohail Abbas's record. And I pray that you do beat that record. And Shri Cheta, I think you are, I just want to mention the last 6 seconds of the Tokyo. Oh my God, I couldn't watch the television. And this man here was standing there defending that goal to get us that bronze medal. I bow to you. I bow to you. Thank you, Cheta, for that memory. I think all of India is, I can't say thank you enough for that memory and for what you brought to the country. Thank you, all of you.
please, Shri, could you step in front, please? And this is a special one for PR Srijesh. The hand of the watch is a hockey stick. And please could I have Aparna also recognize and celebrate all our other panelists. Rahul Todi. It's okay. Rahul Todi, Harmanpreet Singh, Bholanath Singh, and finally Harendra Singh. And now to the climax. The climax. Thank you, Aparna. Thank you very much. Thank you for doing it. And now to the climax, we'll have our Minister, Honorable Minister Shri Shujit Bose on stage. Shujit Da to be accompanied by Shormishta Guptu, my co-founder, on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, to present the Lifetime Achievement Award to PR Shrijesh with Harmanpreet Singh and Bholanath Singh, Shri Shujit Bose and Shormishta Guptu. Rahul Todi, Harmanpreet Singh, Bholanath Singh and Harendra Singh to join Shujit Da and Shormishta as Shri is presented with the Lifetime Achievement Award. Shujit Da to Priya Shrijesh, all of you in front please. Ladies and gentlemen, a standing ovation for PR Shrijesh, for Harmanpreet Singh and for all of my panelists on stage please. Viren Raskina, can I have you on stage for this moment? This is a very special moment. Viren Raskina on stage. Rahul Todi, Harendra Singh, Bholanath Singh, Harmanpreet Singh, PR Shrijesh, Viren Raskina, Shujit Bose, Shormishta Gupta, and to all of you, members of the audience, that's the end of day 2 of the Trailblazers Conclave. We could not have done it better. Thank you very much for being a wonderful audience, and to all of you, thank you very, very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
It was my moment to be in Paris to...
She was there with me in the stadium. We covered it together, we watched the game together. Hi. We were together in Paris when we watched you.
It was a great moment, truly a great moment.